trying to go, something keeps telling me that everything's gonna be alright. Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life. It was meant to be, it was meant for me, so that means we gotta make it work. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Had to give you something to kind of chill to. That was like smooth. Usually I have some like hype music, but I needed to kind of like chill a little bit. What up, Nick?
What's going on?
Glad you could join me this morning on Shop Talk, okay? Listen, I was like feeling myself a little bit. I went into my jazz playlist. I was like, you know what? I need a little calmness in my life. It's just like a lot going on at one time.
Exactly.
So we gonna get into this. You got your stuff? Okay. You got your little cookies, your little coffee. Okay, we ready. Did you use that caramel macchiato?
Yes, I did. That was so good.
Isn't it?
Yes. No sugar needed.
Zero.
I love that.
Zero.
I'm going to start using that.
Oh, that's thebomb.com, and it's cheaper than going, to one of them spots. Talk about something. Let me get a caramel frozen coffee or a caramel frappuccino.
Listen, we had to break down and get another coffee maker last week. So
did you?
You notice I ain't been
coming, yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Which your husband was like, nah, let's cut back. You spend about, and you know what? It's really crazy because you can spend a lot of money. You figure it's like what, $5 for a drink?
Yeah.
It's
depends
like,
on what you get. It could be expensive.
Listen, went to where were we at? Burger King. I shot him out a little bit, And one chicken sandwich was like $4.29. Mm-hmm. I said, what happened?
Went to last night, spent $18 between me and my husband.
$18?
$18 for a drink, a sandwich, and a fry. Medium fry.
You ain't get the 4 for 4?
No, I get the 4 for 4.
4 for 4. I remember I sat there and told my mother, I was like, ask for a 4 for 4. She was like, a what? I said, when you get there, just say a 4 for 4. She was like, what? I was like, a 4 for 4.
Exactly.
F-O. Oh, that was so funny. I was like, I wish I had been there to hear how she said it. A 4 for 4?
She was like, I am not about to...
Right, because I didn't tell her it was like a 4 for 4.
Uh-huh.
I said a 4 for 4. I said, they'll know what you're talking about. So I would have loved... I'd have loved to hear her say, something about her. That would be her. Something about a 4 for 4?
I can just hear your mom saying it now, like, really?
Hilarious. Listen, let's get into these hot topics because I'm going to tell you something. It's a lot. Mm. I don't want to talk about 45. I leave that, Rugal will do his little thing with the politics. But let's talk about Wendy. Wendy filed for divorce the day before yesterday. 2 days before yesterday because the day is Saturday. Yeah, she filed 2 days after her husband, because he is still her husband, was seen publicly with the other woman.
Again, after he just bought her a $40,000 watch for forgiveness and was
that a push gift though?
A push gift.
Push gift for having his child. See,
and talk about Wendy. He bought Wendy the watch.
Oh, he bought Wendy the watch. Okay.
Yeah, and telling people, "Oh, we're good." No, you're not. If you still sitting there running around town with your side piece,
right? That's a mess. She filed. Now, before my thoughts, I'm gonna tell y'all already know. My thoughts were, ain't no way I'm going to give him a divorce. He ain't going to get out that easy because she will not. Because here's the deal. We already know that he was into the other woman. Right. He done bought her a ring. He done moved her down the street. All that stuff. I was like, I'm not going to divorce you so that you could sit there and marry her and then she's my boss. Wasn't happening. Okay? At all. Now, I don't know what the heck is going on with this stuff. Y'all know how I do. I be doing like 100,000 things at one time. Ain't doing that. Look, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Okay. And I just felt like she would be her boss if they actually got married. Now, because I don't know if you guys know, he's the executive producer. He's the producer. She doesn't have a prenup. And that was like way back. Like nowadays people are getting prenups and they're like, I want a prenup.
Right.
Well, let me think. It depends on who I marry. Like if I marry somebody that got a little something, I'm like, I don't want a prenup. But they didn't do a prenup. And see, nowadays people are actually having prenups, and them having their prenups, they kind of like are safe. They got like lawyered up, like with Candy and Todd. Remember that whole thing?
Oh yeah.
So that was like a big issue. It's like, nope, we need to do this prenup or I'm not marrying you. And I can appreciate that, and I respected it with her. But with Wendy and her husband, they've been together for over 20 years. Now, she did write in her memoir. I don't know if you had the opportunity, or you guys that's listening out there had the opportunity to read her memoir. But, your girl,
You know how I get. I be nosy. I'm like, let me see what they got going on in their life. Anyway, 19 years ago, so granted, married 20 years ago. 19 years ago, he cheated on her, and she talks about that. And it was right after she had her son. Now, I read this part. Right after she had her son, he cheated on her. Does that mean he's going to be a cheater the entire time? No, I don't believe so. Some people do, like the Women of the View. Joy Behar said, she was like, no, he going to be cheating. If he cheated back then, he's a cheater. I don't believe that. You know, you don't know what's going on, but I will say one thing. There was alleged, you heard me say alleged talk about a physical abuse toward her. And then, she lost weight. Both of them lost weight together. But I ain't trying to be funny. He is not cute.
At all.
And y'all know I'm petty like that and shallow. He is not cute. That's not a handsome guy. And I just feel like you got a lot of nerve. And she got the money. She is who she is. And it just kind of like blows my mind that she's in this particular space. Now, she did say that she wasn't going to be like the other people. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to tell y'all why I'm distracted. I'm distracted because I'm looking at my computer screen and I see somebody in here. Yes, like my screen is like popping up, moving, and I'm looking like, okay, I didn't press not damn button. Why is that moving? And why is that over there? So if y'all hear me sound a little off, I'll be like, wait, what is she doing? That's because, come look, real quick, look. I'm like, come look, this is off the hook. I'm like, I'm not touching anything. And it just like, see?
Uh-oh.
Who in here? Somebody in my computer.
Exactly.
And look, and I'm not making it up. I don't drink, so I ain't had nothing to sip on, not a mimosa, not a nothing. And it's just, look, see? Boom, boom. You guys can't see it because we're already on live. But I'm like, well, who pushing that? I ain't touched a single thing.
Her hand's been sitting here like this.
No, I'm not calling anybody. I'm on air. We'll deal with that later. But what I was saying
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
No, I don't want to talk to you, honey. Look, I was like, what? See, somebody is just like fooling around in my stuff while I got this going on. So,
well, we do live down the street from a cemetery, and
that ain't it. That ain't it. See, look, boom, boom, boom. Okay, if y'all hear something, this is what's getting ready to happen. Okay, y'all hear something, the computer shutting down. That's what's happening because I'm shutting that down. Huh?
Where's your internet cord?
I don't even have it on there. I ain't doing that. We're just doing that. So if y'all hear something, I got a show to do. Just know that I'm shutting stuff down because somebody is actually on here at the same time. So let's finish talking about Wendy. So now my thoughts are, Wendy went on ahead and she filed. And when she filed because he was out with somebody else. So I was like, I'm cool with that. I think that she needs to actually file because that's disrespectful. First of all, you didn't had a child on me. And if you guys know, she talked about how she kind of knew he was a cheater deep down inside, clearly, because she said, I didn't think he would go that far. So now he has a child with her. And I think it was a push gift because he got her some earrings and allegedly, some earrings, a car, all that lovely stuff. But they were out to dinner. So that's his girl. And I think Wendy is like, boom, bye, see you. And I'm really wondering if she didn't know how people were going to respond to this situation, being that she's the one that tells everybody else's business. Mm-hmm. But her stuff is playing out. And I'm going to tell you one thing. That chick is a pro because she will come and she will do a live show and dealing with what she's dealing with right now. And she's giving people a great show. So it's like, okay, here, I have to still do what it is that I have to do and put my personal life to the back. And look, and he getting paid off of it. He's getting paid off of it. But like I was saying, 2020 is when she said she was going to be done because she didn't want to have like a show over and over, all the years. And everybody watch her grow old on television. She said 2020 was going to be it. So my thing is go for it. 2020. Now here's what's going to happen. It's the Wendy Williams show. Now I ain't going to say what's going to happen. I'm speaking it into existence because that's my girl. Okay. Wendy Williams, the only thing that she could do, she can actually get out of it if she decides to come back to a show and call it Wendy. And right now, everybody knows who she is, so she could go on the one names, the one name status. Who we got? We got Beyonce. Who else is a one namer that we know who we talking about?
Oprah.
Yeah, number one. Okay. Oprah. And isn't it funny because you got like Oprah, who is a different name. Beyonce is a different name. But who has a regular name that Steve trying to do it? Remember, it was like the Steve Harvey show, and then you're like, Steve. See, you say Steve to me. First one I'm thinking of, because you know I like my Ratchet TV. Steve Wilkos. I'm like, wait, which one? We doing Steve Harvey or Wilkos? You can't take that one, Steve Harvey. I don't know. Who else is it?
I'm trying to think of somebody with a common name.
We got to think about that. But I think Wendy could stand on her own.
Oh, I think she could.
Oh, she most definitely can, because everybody knows her.
And it ain't
Miss
the
Ratchet herself.
foe for foe. Not that Wendy. Listen, Wendy's. Wendy, yeah, she Miss Ratchet herself. But she has so many people that were like rooting for her and championing her on. And it's like, I can't believe that you out here with your mistress. Let's be real. And at the beginning, they were putting it out there. And I'm like, why are you guys pretty much giving the mistress the accolades? You know what I'm saying? I just felt like that. It was like, oh, yeah, he out there with his girl. Like, it's okay. That's not okay. And now they're turning on him. And it's like, no.
That right there may be her saving grace, so she won't have to pay him nothing.
Not, right. And you had a baby.
And you had a baby. That right there will be her saving grace. That prenup will be pretty much, you know.
Done. I think so. What you think? Give him the go-to girl.
Hey, I don't know, because there's so much, they're so intertwined with what they've done. I don't know how much he's actually invested since they got married, because Wendy Williams is a brand.
Right.
And she's a person.
Right.
So they're going to have to figure out how much is overlapping with the other. How much is business, how much is personal, and what his actual contribution after the wedding was.
And see, but this is my thing. Wendy Williams. She was Wendy Williams before she married him, because he's
Right.
Hunter. So that's her maiden last name. You know what? I'm about to be like Melanie Rudolph. I'm about to go back to that. So when y'all see me in films, it's going to be like Melanie Rudolph.
Ain't that right?
I got to I got to go back to that one, because I'm carrying the husband's last name still. Yeah, no, I'm like, they be like, what, Melanie Rudolph?
All right, Trina Braxton.
Oh,
Husband.
and listen, I was saying it before them, but when they said it, I said I heard that.
Uh,
So they just went on. Yeah, how about
My
that?
aunt calls all of mine has been.
Has been. That's it.
Has been.
I have a question, though. Is Wendy's situation like Mary J. Blige's was? Because didn't she have to pay her husband?
Now, see, Mary J. Blige is a little bit different.
Okay.
Wendy's is a lot of bit different, because her husband was there long time ago. Mm-hmm. Mary J. Blige's husband, what's his name? Ken 2, something like that. Mm-hmm. He came after everybody knew it was the 411.
Right.
We knew what the 411 was. However, I will say that he did contribute to the new Mary J, because he ended up being her manager. And it kind of, he kind of did some deals and made some deals where she was being received by other audiences. Because, you know, what's the 411? You're talking about that KC JoJo, steel toe boots, B-boy hat, jersey, you know, and it was like, okay, that's
Only
it.
we knew about that Mary.
Listen, that was like, boom. Boom, that was like the bomb. However, you do have to grow.
For the crossover Mary.
Yeah, the crossover Mary.
She didn't really cross over too much, but she was more R&B than hip hop.
Yes.
The first Mary was straight hip hop.
But she was with Puffy and them that did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they was all like, yeah, rah, 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 but you do have to grow. So I can't really say that he didn't earn any funds. He worked toward it, and he earned it. But her paying for him the entire time, that wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. And wanting, you know, the amount. And I'm like, yeah, you set this up. Yeah, you're the reason that she got paid. But I just think that he shouldn't have got paid that much. Get out of here. You just got here.
But Wendy's has been there. That's what I'm
Wendy's
saying.
husband has been there the entire time.
They're going to have to figure that out.
He's been there. He was there when she was on radio. You know what I mean? And he's the one, allegedly, that pitched the show.
But if they get
and he's the producer, the executive producer, and so that's like his idea. But when you're together as one, that's your idea, and it's like, hey, how can I extend my brand? Well, let's move to television. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people want to see, because when you're listening to radio, and some people don't realize this, let's be real, there's a talent in radio. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you have to entertain people that you're not seeing, oh, you definitely. Look at Kim having to go to
510% correct. 510% correct. If I have learned nothing else, You have to use your voice as a tool all the way around. Your words, your voice, your intonation. And I am like that TV type where I communicate with my nonverbal communication, except for on radio, you cannot see it. So, kudos to those who succeed in the hearing world.
Yes, yes.
Because that is a talent. You got that right.
And she has that, where she could sit in front of people. They can't edit anything because it's a live show. And it's like, boom, we going on. Just like this show. Mm-hmm. It's a live show. Boom, all the bloopers and all that other stuff. You be like, hey, this is it.
This is it.
And you got to deal with it. But when you're on radio, you do. It's like, I have to give you, me personally, I have to give you the visual and hopefully you can follow me. And it's like with television, you have the nonverbal cues, and you got the facial expressions. Yes. That's why I was like, y'all can't see this, but y'all probably making the same face I'm making, on different topics. So,
I had a boss tell me she wished she could write me up for my nonverbal communication.
What?
I am so effective if you can see me, because I communicate with all of me. And so she could say something, and I didn't have to open my mouth, but she knew exactly what I was thinking. And she told me she wished she could write me up for that.
Dang, it's like,
yes. Yes, so
like,
I have a whole new appreciation for having to carry an audio show. I really do.
Good stuff, and it's fun. Look,
Yeah,
I'm like, and it's fun. Now, speaking of that issue with, like, we did the Wendy Williams, Mary J. Hud, Jennifer Hudson, she goes with J. Hud. Yeah, I'll be like, Hudhausen. That's what's in my head. Yeah. Y'all already know. I'll be like, why would she go with that? But Jennifer Hudson is upset, and she feels like that she should not have to pay for housing for her ex-boyfriend.
Right, that's different. That's your
Her
ex-boyfriend.
Punk. He was on I Love New York. Y'all know I Love Directed TV. So remember, if y'all follow I Love New York, she was like, it was a spinoff of Flavor of Love. Mm-hmm. And New York was off the hook, and then it was I Love New York. The only people I remember on I Love You New York is Real and Chance, and honey, Real was fine.
Oh, baby.
I know he passed rest in peace, but let me tell you, Real was so fine. He had beautiful dark skin. Oh, he was beautiful. But anyway, Punk was on there. He was a yellow cat. And Jennifer Hudson ended up talking to him, and he's now like a wrestler. But I didn't want to, what is his name? What is his name?
David Otunga.
Otunga, that's it, Otunga. And he feel as though that she needs to pay for his housing.
She don't need to pay for nothing.
But he got the baby, though. She had a baby by him.
Oh, he got the baby.
He has the baby. Yes. He has the baby and has raised the baby. She was like, he needs to get a job. That's what she said. He needs to get a job.
So this is a double standard kind of thing?
He's that.
He's an attorney. He's a wrestler. He's a pro wrestler now. And he also has some acting gigs because he was just in the last Medea movie. So, no. Child support, yes, she should have to pay. Housing, no, she shouldn't. She shouldn't have to pay housing and child support. No.
She said no. And guess how he got out there, though? I'm surprised that New York ain't saying, hey, I'm the one to put you out there, homie.
Exactly.
Because that's where he actually started from. And it was like, oh, we remember Punk. That was his name on that show. Okay, here's the thing. When you say double standard, and that's where I'm at.
That's where I went.
I said, now if it was him that was making the money, and she has the child, let's go with their situation.
Yep.
It would be the same, the way I feel, the same situation. You're getting child support, make it work. Make it do what it do, especially if you're paying so much.
Because usually what happens is when you pay child support, a dude is pretty much like, use it, just like you said, use that money and make it work. Take that child support and pay for housing, gas, electric, all that other stuff, your utilities out of that child support. But he feels as though that housing is, he got the baby.
So is the argument that without her support, he can't maintain the standard of housing that the child is used to living in? Is that his argument?
You know that's it.
Okay.
Exactly, because it's it if the tables were turned.
Right. That's exactly what the argument would be. Well, yeah, I can maintain something, but it's not what the child is used to having.
Right. And see, she's always gone, and her being always gone, he has the child, because before she wanted, he was like, I'm here. Why should you take my child on the road or have somebody, somebody else babysitting our child when I'm actually able to be here. And the child is used to being with him and his family. See, y'all got to watch who y'all had these souvenirs with.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
like,
it.
Psh. And,
especially when you know you're living this kind of life where you are vulnerable to that. You can think about what you're doing. Turn your love off for a minute and see what your situation is.
now, I'm going to say this. This is what I'm going to say. Remember when she was heavy set? And he was there because he liked her when she was heavy. It was the love of her life. She was getting ready to get married. She was happy. She was proposed to, walking on the beach, the whole nine. She lost all that weight. And baby, listen, it was a new her. Now, I'm not saying that she changed since she lost all that weight, but she ain't really into him anymore because he had, a while back we talked about on the show where she was cheating on him or allegedly cheating on him. And that's what happened with the engagement with some guy in the studio or something like that. I talked about it a while ago, but I wasn't that concerned with their particular, situation. But she actually was like interested in somebody else, and I want to say the little boy ended up mentioning it, and that's when. Oopsie, got watch. The kids are telling.
Kids will tell
The babies
everything.
will tell it, be like, Mom,
Shoot, if
Dad
animals
was in
could
the
talk,
car
they
with
would tell
so and
too.
so, huh?
If animals could talk, they would tell too.
Which we gonna talk about?
Wait a
We gonna talk
minute.
about some
Like-
animals.
Muzzle sales have gone up.
Exactly.
Muzzles for everybody. Just pass it out. Pass it out like Palm. Like on Palm Sunday. Here goes a muzzle for you, a muzzle for you, a muzzle for
How
you.
come Fido walking up to him like that? How Fido know who that is?
Right.
What? Yeah, how come he ain't barking?
Yeah.
What's really
What's
going
up
on?
with that?
Hey, listen, and you know what's crazy? If it's a female dog with a male owner, that's when you know.
yeah.
You be like,
Oh,
another
yeah.
female come in?
Oh yeah.
Y'all looking up on you. Wait a minute, why is she barking at her?
Right, what's
Right,
going
exactly.
on? Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Y'all off the hook. But that is the
That's
truth.
what
If
it
dogs
is.
could talk,
If
but
dogs
them
could talk.
children will say it, honey. That's why everybody used to say, they knew that back in the day, talking about some uncle so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard aunt so-and-so. Oh, that's aunt so-and-so. I always heard uncle.
Uncle.
What is that about? Chicks making moves
It
now.
would just be Miss So and So,
Miss so-and-so.
or
Oh,
this
okay.
daddy friend, Miss So and So.
And listen, you already know that friend. That's what it is with the females. Friend, bringing a plate. Church flirting. Church flirt.
Go
This
take Brother Fred a plate.
church flirt.
Exactly.
I almost
Brother,
choked.
how you know what Brother Fred like on that?
Yeah, and
Oh,
where he
I
live
was
at.
just thinking, child, prayed on it. God told me feed him that.
That's how cougars flirt. Because I don't know no
Yeah.
young person that's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fix him a plate. He ain't got nobody. I'm going to go ahead and fix him a
Don't
plate.
take him that pound cake. Take him that lemon meringue.
Ah!
That's what he wants. How that's it?
That throwback church flirt. That is so funny. And you know what? I wonder if they know. They probably don't even know. Because like with the young pastors and ministers now,
Ooh, yeah, they just out with
I
it.
would
They
say, well,
just
shoot,
don't
everybody out there now.
they out there.
It's just all out there now.
Everybody out there. Do they be bringing them plates? Just the old ones. The old ones be still bringing plates. What the young ones do?
Casserole.
The young ones just come to church with skirts right up under their booty and
Hi,
Go
Pastor.
for it.
Hi, Reverend.
look. You know we did that play about that.
Yes, we
Play
did.
about
Yes,
that.
we did. Yes,
You know,
we
Sister
did.
Betty was turning them at the door.
Yes, high five.
Damn,
Sis-
I
yes.
wasn't playing.
Girl, you left home before you finished dressing. You better go on back home.
That was it at the play. That was
Where the
it. She
rest
was
your
blocking. She was
clothes at?
protecting her pastor because she already knew. You ain't getting back here with that. It was so funny, but it was so real.
I asked one girl, where the rest of your skirt?
Bye-bye. They went on back. Listen, you gotta have somebody there to protect. I'm telling you, because what?
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy, but it's the real deal. And that was back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an ongoing thing, and it does happen.
It's something else now.
Look, I'm like, so that's it. Just a low.
I have a very good
interesting.
pastor and first lady. You know, I haven't been in church forever. Lord, please forgive me, but shout out to Pastor.
You ain't been there in 90 days.
Longer than that.
Listen, I heard in 90 days you off you off the road.
But shout out to Pastor. Pastor.
You can't vote in business meeting. You ain't been here in 90 days.
just show up and
Yeah,
be like,
the person had a book. You ain't gave an offering since the first Sunday of that day.
in
You ain't paid tithes
1989.
since the fourth Sunday of that. You can't
You
vote
know.
on this. Brother Pastor, I vote. We kick her out.
That is
Good thing I don't have a church like that though. They're not like that. They're not
Go in there
born
and try
and
to
raised
vote
in
on
that
something. Go in there
church.
and try to vote.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Go in there.
Oh, see, that's one thing I ain't
Go in there and try to intervene in the
I only
meeting.
voted against one thing. It was, and look, my mom was like, we going to church because it was something going on back, when my and the pastor was, sick and everything, and it was it was right after he died, and there was something going on. Yeah, everybody showed up and voted that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't care if they wasn't, because the church ended up being divided.
Was it a vote? Was it a vote on a new pastor?
It
Because
was-
they serious about that.
Yeah, it was a vote on the pastor that our pastor had appointed before he died,
Okay.
and
Who should have got the church
somebody,
after?
you're right, and he was already pastoring, and somebody who grew up in the church that tried to bully their way in while the pastor was in the hospital on his deathbed. Him and his mama went up in there.
That's crazy, that church
Being
like
messy.
that.
Shoot,
Being
wait a
messy.
minute. When we go off the air, I gotta ask you what church you go to. That sound like a church I know. I'm like,
Farrell, Pennsylvania?
No, they
Okay.
got those in Ohio too. though.
Yeah,
But okay, so let me ask y'all this: since we talking about church stuff, I remember that I was going to this church, and one of the persons in the church needed some help from the benevolent fund. The benevolent fund is, when people need some help with something.
Mm-hmm.
But she hadn't gone to church regularly. If you need help and you go to the church for help, should they be able to look at your attendance and your offering to decide whether or not they're going to help you from the benevolent fund?
Absolutely. Now, my
Yeah.
question was something like that, but you already put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you ain't deposit, what you withdrawing?
Right, exactly.
If I sat there and
A
I
church ain't a bank.
listen,
It's a storehouse.
it's a storehouse. And they storing my funds in that house, okay? And I need to vote. Now I'm coming to vote because...
Oh, you voting now?
I'm
Okay, let me
voting.
look at when you paid your tithes.
Girl, listen. Now that right there, you gonna see that.
They'll pull them books out.
Now you gonna see that. Now you might not see me present.
Sister Ross.
Did you see there was something on Facebook where somebody said if you won $20 billion, or was it $20 million,
Uh-huh.
would you still tithe your 10%? And a lot of people was like, no. And I was
That's
like,
crazy.
yes.
I would
Why
I would
not?
definitely do it.
20 million and you giving 2 million of 20 million, you gonna be that stingy?
You know what? I'm
That's why
gonna
they
be.
ain't gonna win it.
If it was 2 million, if it was whatever,
1 million.
I would
Still
give
gonna
them.
give my
Give to
10%.
the
I would.
And I'm gonna be honest and say I haven't been to church in a while. Now I did go to the last year because every year we have
You want-
tent revival. I went to tent revival.
Okay.
And they were glad to see me, because
You were still around. Bless you, Sister
exactly,
Nicole. You still here.
exactly.
Welcome
And
home.
my
Welcome
pastor- Right. And my pastor knows that we live over here, like with our work circumstances.
tell
A lot
I
of
grew
times
up
we
in the
didn't
church.
get a chance to go. But I would still, regardless I don't care if I haven't been there in about 5-6 years straight, I would still give my 10%.
Listen.
Why
So
wouldn't
wait,
you?
did they say welcome home? I know. it was-
Welcome home,
I know
baby.
somebody
No.
said.
That was it. It's so good to see how my boy doing,
Well, that's good. Hey, that's better because before they be
Well,
don't
they
even know
looking
what
at you
went
like you
through.
crazy.
Yeah, like you,
Nah.
like what you done backslid? I feel like I done
Nah.
moonwalked. You be like, but what happened?
Backslid off a cliff and took you this long.
Right? They're like, ooh, she done changed her life.
Climbing back up for a long time.
But you here after they give you all that shade.
Yeah, but you
here. You here? We gonna pray. Oh, look who here! Look! Come on up to the altar.
Thank you, Lord, for getting the Satan out of her. Jesus, thank you.
You don't even know what happened. Like, Dad, you don't even know what happened to me. I didn't
Living
show up.
spirits, thank you, Lord.
I mean, you still have your your run-of-the-mill people that turn around, and it be the young ones now that turn
What
around
she
look,
doing
like,
here?
who is that? What's she doing here? But the older ones, they know what's up. They still give me hugs and everything. But them younger ones be looking like, especially the new ones.
The new ones?
Yeah, they be looking all crazy.
Not the babes.
The babies.
The
And I
babes
be
in
having to
Christ.
look at them like, I remember when we was putting diapers on your butt.
babes
You
in
better go
Christ.
somewhere.
Wait a minute, that's crazy.
Yeah, the older ones, they cool. It be the young ones now that be there every Sunday that want to look at you like, oh, you in church? Yeah, and you got a problem with that? What?
Listen, how about the ones, because not this week, next week, Easter.
Oh,
the
yeah.
once a year people, unless Christmas fall on Sunday.
Right.
There you go. If Christmas fall on
Unless
Sunday,
Christmas
you're
fall
gonna
on
have a great
Sunday.
Christmas service. Do people still dress for Easter?
Some people do.
Some
Do
people
they?
still do, yeah.
Aw, that's nice.
But here's the crazy part about it, though. Some people dress for Easter, and they are the ones who look like the standout now, instead of the people who don't dress up. It's almost like you're used to seeing everybody in come as you are, dress down mode. So when you see the Easter bonnet come in with the little frilly socks and all of that stuff, you stop back and you look, because now that's the minority dress in church. And it's like, what happened?
Right.
What happened?
I know they tell you come as you are, but I'm from the old school. I still believe you still need to dress up on Sunday.
You still need to wear pantyhose. Don't come up in there with no bare legs.
That one I'm gonna argue with. I can't do the pantyhose. I never could. Never could.
Come in there with scratching.
Man, yes.
My son used to like to sit on the side of people and rub their legs because he liked to feel
The feel of
the pantyhose. I was like, oh, look at him. He gonna be mad. They was like, oh, he gonna be mannish. I was like, he just like
He gonna be on 60 Minutes.
right.
The pantyhose stalker.
Right. Somebody gonna be like, hashtag me too.
Yeah, exactly. This
Hashtag
little
me-
boy grew up rubbing my leg.
Yeah,
I
rubbing
felt
my
my
I told
leg.
his mama he was gonna be no good.
At that time, be like, oh my gosh, a hot mess, a hot mess. But that is that makes you wonder, like, wow, have we changed so much? And it's good to accept people, but we changed so much that the norm is not the norm.
Right.
The
It's
norm
not
is the
anymore.
unnorm.
Right.
Unnorm. That's crazy to me. And like, come as you are, I'm for that with my children, because they, trying to do it. However, on first Sunday they had to dress. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I said, we had to come to a compromise here. Now me, I always came how I was. Mm-hmm. Even, younger, it's like, okay, that was just me. But you have to when you have little people, you have to bring them up the right way.
Right.
You have to have order. And when you look at the traditional, I'm using air quotes, lovely people, when you look at the traditional churches now, it's just like, there's no difference. And before there was a difference, being of the world and being inside church. So now you have, and I'm not saying that it started because of the come as you are. The doors of the church are open and they need to be open. I had an issue with one pastor that closed the church because he was mad at the ministries. Now, I get where he was coming from.
That was ridiculous.
Let me tell you, honey, I was so
You
upset.
shut down church for 2 Sundays. We talking about him?
Yes, we are.
I like that.
Here's where my issue was to come. And a deacon came to me. I pulled up and I was like, what? And I had my son in the car at the time. And he said, the church is closed. I said, what? I was upset because I felt like this might have been the day where the prostitute decided, the streetwalker decided, this is it. I'm going. And the doors of the church are locked. When it clearly says the doors of the church are open. And that's the come as you are part that people need to understand, where you are spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Where you are mentally, and not just your attire.
Exactly.
Now, if somebody comes in there, and I'm going to tell y'all, like I always said, they come in there, and if you don't think that it's appropriate, that's what ushers are for. Put them in the VIP section. Don't put them up there in front of the pastor and they got a miniskirt on. Talk about sit where you want. Sweetheart, let me usher you. That's what.
Right.
Let me usher you into our overflow section. You know what I'm saying? This is the VIP section. Boom. Because you need him not to be distracted. But when he closed that church, now I saw the pettiness. So here's the thing. That wasn't a God thing. And I knew it wasn't. That was a personal thing. So now you're taking over. And that was not a cool thing to do. And did I resent him for it? I didn't resent at all. But I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. The problem I had is, here I am teaching my children about church, and you closed the church. Now, to myself, I'm like, really? And then my son said, he was like, they closed church? Mommy, I ain't never heard church
Right.
being closed.
That's bad when the baby can do
Right. And I
like
looked
that.
at him and I said, you're not supposed to close church. Boom. I went to another church. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened? Membership went down because
Yes, it did.
you allowed church to be closed. So now people out, we
And
shopping.
got a sign on the door talking about why the church was closed. It was posted on the door.
Honey, I know, because it was my church.
Yes, I went out and read
It was my church, and
Listen.
here's what the issue is. Now he had an issue with people pretending. Well, just set them down and be empty. You don't need the choir singing. You don't need any of that. They weren't attending Bible study.
That's
Now,
what it was on the door.
now here's my thing. If I'm a problem solver, and when I seen the Bible study, I said, well, that was nuts. Keep church open and have Bible study that day. What's the problem? Don't close the church. Guess what? Today we're going to do Bible study during church hours. If you want to teach, you know what I'm saying? You're punishing the people. How do you punish the people because of what your ministers are doing? Not okay. And I don't know if you want to punish the people because they're not there. Now, we weren't coming to Bible study. No, I'm saying we because I'm included in that. Bible study used to be on Tuesdays. You changed Bible study to a day that was convenient for you because your child played basketball. And now you're mad that people aren't coming. What happened? You changed it. So, Tuesday worked. It worked for people. It worked for me too because, I was in management and that was my late night. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Boom. I'm out in the field doing what I need to do. And then on Tuesday, I could take my little lunch break. It was an hour. Boom. I was down there. You know what I'm saying? Right. Listening to the word. Then I can go out. Well, guess what? Now it's on Wednesday. Wednesday don't work for me because that's not my late day. And I have to do other stuff, work my other job. So you don't know why people aren't there. But to just take it upon yourself to say, okay, I'm shutting the church down. That's not godly. However, he did. On Sunday, he was crying and apologized when he opened it back up and he realized that it was him. And I guess the people never came back because
Is it still low?
It used to be a huge congregation.
I used to love it. I liked it because church started a little later too.
A lot of late, girl, right?
I could go take care of my grandmother and do what I needed to do for her and then go to church. It was awesome. It was
yes.
perfect. But yeah, I think that did something when you shut the doors.
Because you want to shut them. Yeah, they was like, oh, they going over there. Oh, they going over here.
Because people still wanted to go to church.
Yes.
See, people still wanted their praise and worship time, and you didn't account for that.
How about this? You didn't give it. I'm not going to say you didn't allow because people went to other churches. Mm-hmm. But if they're in walking distance and they say, okay, well, I go to church on Sunday, church is closed. So now, bye. And I walk to this church because I know I can get what I need for the rest of the week. And, I get it that some people feel like you only come on Sunday. You got to pray every day. Yes, you have to teach people. Back to our babes in Christ. They don't know. They might be just starting off.
But it doesn't matter. That's not your call.
Yes.
What's happening is our relationship with God and our relationship with the church, that's two different relationships.
Yes.
And people blend that, and then we get situations like this. Regardless of how you felt, your lesson is to show what commitment looks like. Show what dedication looks like. Not shut it down.
Right.
You completely achieved the opposite effect of what you were trying to say. Because you gave up your commitment to the process because you were upset about somebody else's non-commitment. So you just followed them, really.
Boom. That's why she Kim Ham to go to, girl. Okay. Boom. There you have it. All right. Let's move on. Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Felicity.
Yeah. No, that's of another one.
Yeah,
we talk about Atlanta.
We ain't talking about the desperate ones. We talking about the real ones.
Real. Yeah.
I haven't really been up on it.
Well, I'm about to tell you real quick. Nene Leakes is going through some things because Greg was dealing with colon cancer. I think it was colon cancer. So he was really sick and she feeling some type of way. She's saying that he's mean. I'm not mad at her because they were like, oh, that's so rude. She's talking about getting a divorce again because he's mean toward her. Yes, he is sick, but guess what? You are sick. I'm trying to be here for you. You cannot treat me any type of way. So I feel her on that part. You can't treat me any kind of way because you're upset. So I feel her on that. Some people were like bashing her. Now on this season, she is playing the victim. And her and Cynthia Bailey, that's my girl, is like Cynthia is the nicest housewife. She is the nicest. And it's like, how can you, 9 seasons now? How do you maintain, especially with all that ratchetness and drama? How do you still maintain? So anyway, her and Cynthia and Nene get into it because Cynthia was having a party. And it was celebrating her and her new venture. Nene gets mad because somebody else is invited.
Right, I did see the commercials for that.
Now, which is nuts. Here's my question to you guys. If you have two friends and you're supporting one, would you be upset if you didn't like that other friend that came to the party?
No.
It's like she's making her choose. It's her event. Now, if it was Nene's event and I decide to bring somebody that I know you don't like, that's different. Mm-hmm. But if it's my event, y'all coming to support me. Why are you upset? So they fell out behind that because Nene is upset at Cynthia because she said you knew that she was coming. Hello, this is my event. It is not about you. I understand your husband is having some issues, but you are not getting ready to make it about you. Eva Marcel, the supermodel, America's Next Top Model, she was on there. She ended up winning, I believe. She's now a housewife. And at her wedding, Nene made it about her instead of Eva Marcel. And it's like, it's her wedding. You didn't want to come. Talking about me and Greg going through some things. She asked you to come for her. I get that to a certain extent, but why would she did go? But she was so toxic. It was like, why come? And then she's the one that's like spreading that your girl dealing with stuff. Come on now. Her and Marlo. Get your life. So that's what's going on with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So that's why I had to ask you guys, what is your opinion on that situation as far as like, should they fall out over her inviting somebody else to her event?
It's not the event, it's Nene. Because you've just given me all these examples of where she's having issues. So what she's doing is bringing her drama to all of the events. It's her. She's the drama queen.
Okay.
She's always been the drama queen, but
this is
Nene,
different.
But the last couple seasons, I've been like, come on, Nene, you tripping.
That's because she got other issues going on, and it's coming out through all of this. Mm-hmm. She has other stuff going on, and this is how it's coming out.
She's not shining. That's what I see.
Yeah, it's a validation kick.
Right.
But it's validation off the camera too. It's just that on the camera we get to see it.
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
I really think that with Greg being sick, this is the season
straw breaking the camel's back.
She should have sat out and be like, I can't film this season right now because I have to deal with my husband. I really think had she done that, then, whenever his crisis is over with or whatever's going on, she can come back with a clear mind and it wouldn't be so much drama. But I really think she should have sat out this season.
I don't think she was going to sit out because she needs to be the star. When she sat out before the other seasons, remember she had things coming, doing good for her. She had things going on. The comedy, when she was doing the cameos on different shows. So she was shining. So she was the standout. So she was like, I'm going to sit out this season because I'm doing A, B, C, and D. Now it's somebody else's turn. That I don't think is being reciprocated. It's like, okay, everybody cheer me on. They're like, yay. But when they actually achieve something, she's not cheering them on. It's almost like it's a jealousy.
It's parasitic love. As long as she's getting it all, she's fine. But if you give it to somebody else and she's not getting it, then she has to get to the person who is, and it becomes toxic. It's parasitic. I have to feed off of everybody else's validation because it's hard for me to find it within myself.
Okay. She know how to bring it home, don't she?
She does.
That's why I just love her. Kim, look, speaking of Kim Ham, Kim Kardashian is going to looking to being an attorney. Actually, she is. She's already started. Would you have Kim Kardashian represent you? She got her hand up in the air.
Teacher.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. You're on.
This is not like doing an apprenticeship rather than going to school just to do hair. How are you doing an apprenticeship to become a lawyer? I don't understand that. I don't. She's not going to school. She is in an apprenticeship to become an attorney.
In certain states, you don't have to go to law school. You have to have 4 years as an apprentice.
Really?
Yes. In California, let me finish. You asked, I'm telling you. I got to give you the information.
Yes. Let me go
The state of California, you said let's go move there. The state of California is one of those states where you can be an apprentice for 4 years. So it's almost like on-the-job training.
Yes.
And become an attorney. Now, we know that her father is an attorney. So it has to be in the blood. But I don't know if I'd be calling Kim K, even though she got that girl off.
She did get that girl off,
I was
though.
ready to say I would. Because
She got that girl off.
Because she's charismatic enough. All she needs to know is just enough law. Because she's already going to influence you with her presence, her presentation. Look at what what has she done to get famous in the first place? But just be her.
No. She sucked the penis. But I guess that's her.
Yeah.
That's how she got famous.
Ray J.
Ray J's. And Ray J, the tape came out. So now should Ray J be getting 10%?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I got to say, her mom was the momager because she took a negative and made it a positive. It was like, okay, well, this is out. This is it. You did it. And let's make some money off of it.
Yep, she can represent me.
Right. So she can represent you?
Sure can. Especially if the judge is
What her apple bob himself?
Especially if the judge is a man. Since we already know how she getting there, hey, let's roll with it.
If the judges, you know, he's sitting there thinking like, why Kanye mad? Like, for real, this is what they do, and you mad.
That's how they make it.
And you mad? So okay, well, Kim said she could represent her. Kim can represent Kim.
Shoot.
Especially look, because they gonna be looking like
right.
She has a fail-proof strategy.
Now, too bad Monica Lewinsky couldn't, didn't have her mother there. Because if her mother was there, you know what that is. And I ain't gonna lie, if you gonna ball for apples, if you gonna ball for apples,
President of the United States.
Hey,
Right.
you got it. At least you can be like, listen, it ain't like Mike down the street. I'm bobbing the President of the United States.
Wow, that was crazy. That was funny. Like, really?
And back then you were like, oh my gosh. Now everybody just doing it. You got people that's just out here. Like when we go out, you have guys that just be like, I just want to have oral. You be like, really? And that was like taboo back in the day. Mm-hmm. Well, men are getting the same thing. Well, chicks just like, they just want to do that. I'm like, what's happening? What is turning? Look, as the world turns.
It has turned. It's not turning. We've gone from ultra conservative to anything goes. Mm-hmm. There is no balance. That pendulum just swung from one side to the other.
Girl, well, I see a scale right in my head. I had a visual of a scale. Whoop. I was like, dang. Look. A scale or a grandfather clock. It was like, whoop.
To the other. That's all. That's what happened.
You have to have
conversation today. You couldn't have this stuff. Adults wouldn't have these conversations in front of other folks years ago.
Now everybody just
now
out with it.
It's just out there.
That's too much.
It's just out there.
Too much.
This conversation we having right now wouldn't have been on podcast, broadcast, and all kind of other casts.
Why she got me? Look, I almost spit out that water. This conversation wasn't.
Right here.
I wouldn't be able to do it. They'd be like, come here, reel it in. Come here, Mel. Let me talk to you.
Do it. Bells ringing all over the place. Ding, 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 ding.
Like, we ain't allowed to do this. That's nuts, though. Mm-hmm. Because even, it's like a basic conversation. And then the conservatives are the ones that are the misfits. It's like, that's what it is. The times of...
Tight wads. What's wrong with you guys? You're too
loosen
uptight.
up. No, laws are for the unlawful. Come on. We need to re-implement then. How about that? Re-implement some things. Because if it gets so far gone, if we're so far gone, how do you know what the foundation is? We're losing the foundation. And I'm no architect or anything like that, but a house cannot stand with a weak foundation. Everything gonna shift.
And that's what you see.
I see a shift.
So
look, I see a shift.
So what that says, though, is that the foundation was weak to begin with.
I don't agree.
I agree.
Like of course you agree with yourself.
Right. I agree.
Of course you agree. Why do you think the foundation was weak to begin with?
Because just because we weren't hearing about it doesn't mean it wasn't there. What's happening now is it's not taboo to expose it. A lot of this stuff we think, all has changed, and the law has changed. But what is changing more is the fact that it's coming out, not that it's happening.
It's exposed.
It's being more exposed.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Yes, there are more people having children out of wedlock, but there's a whole lot of folks who did it. You just didn't know they did it. And people get 60 and 70 years old.
And find out who the real dad is.
When their sister died, that was really their mama. I mean, it's not that it wasn't there. It's just that we're hearing more about
We're
it
hearing
now.
more about it now.
Everybody
And
kept it quiet?
Yeah.
What kills me is
But that wasn't, and I'm pin that right there. Don't lose your thought.
Okay.
See, here's my thoughts. My thoughts are the foundation was strong way back. Somebody to rock the boat a little bit. That's where I'm at.
How far way back? Because way back, foundation was strong because we were suppressed. Foundation was strong because it was a clear who's in charge and who is not, and nobody.
Not that far back.
But
you're right.
But that's
Go ahead.
where it starts, though.
Go ahead.
When we talk about making America great again, that don't apply to us.
It
People
doesn't.
don't understand that.
That doesn't apply to us.
So you get people who are more comfortable coming out against the grain. The thought was always there. If not, we would still be bound. When you have let's talk about the Me Too movement. Look at how far back it's going. When we talk about all these, look at how far back it's going. So it's not that anything is changing. It's just being exposed.
It is a season of exposure.
and
I'm happy about that.
I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
What I don't understand is, and we're going back to even with the thing with R. Kelly. Back in the day, they did that. My grandmother was 14 years old when she got pregnant with her oldest child and married. My grandfather was 9 years older than her. That was the norm. And a lot of
there's
back
nothing
there having children at an early age, and nobody, we don't know because we weren't back there, but it wasn't really talked about like it is now. Why is it those same people back in the day want to call the young girls now fast, and they talk about them like a dog now? But you did the same thing at that age.
But nobody made a big deal because you got married and
Well,
you got
somebody
but who
didn't
said
get married, no.
But here's
Well,
the
no, because
thing.
grandma would raise. I mean, you understand there were ways to navigate that. I remember when I went to Ursuline and somebody got pregnant in 9th grade. She came back in 10th grade with that stomach flat like it was when
Right.
she left. You could not go to school pregnant and nobody was going to talk about it. It's not that it wasn't happening.
I'm not saying that it wasn't happening.
They wasn't putting it out there.
Right. I'm not saying that it wasn't happening, but I'm going to go back to the foundation and how things are being diluted now. And I think that it's important that we go back. And we ain't got to go all the way back to where
let's go back to
Whoa,
childhood.
let me finish.
Okay.
I think we need to go back. Let's deal with something that's not as far as that. Let's go with church.
There we go.
Now let's go with church.
Yes, ma'am.
You knew church services usually start. There was a time. Ushers, minor. This is minor. Back in the day, did ushers wear the white gloves, white shoes, the whole nine? Now, ushers aren't wearing the gloves, and they just got a pin to say usher. Now, when you are bringing somebody young, you have to have order. And the reason I say that the foundation is being diluted and not there is because we have to go back is so that we can teach them properly. So if you're saying that the foundation was shaky. Now, to me, here's the thing. Ignorance, meaning non-educated,
Right.
does not mean that you are ignorant when you don't know.
That's true.
So, with that being said, like me, do I think my foundation was solid? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you had the slavery, you had all of that stuff back then. I didn't experience that. So now let's go from here.
Yeah, hurry up and finish because I'm ready.
Okay, yeah, look, I'm ready. I didn't experience that, but I can say that I had a solid foundation. What was right? What was wrong? What was acceptable? That's why I said laws are for the unlawful. So this is here, and now we just shaking it off. But it is my responsibility to teach my children what I've learned. And like I said, this is minor, like reading bedtime stories. Bedtime stories were read to me. So what did I do? I read them to my children. Now we have a generation that they're not even reading. Let's go with Christmas. You have Christmas people, they're like, we already know the real meaning. So all y'all, Bible bangers out there, don't say, well, da-da-da-da. Anyway, with Christmas, you had people like people my age that didn't get what they wanted for Christmas. So when they were coming up, so they were like, well, my child is not going to deal with that. And guess what? What did they do? They go all out with Christmas, giving them everything. And now we have a generation of entitlement. So that's where I'm at, where it's being diluted. So I get what you're saying. I'm not going to say that you're wrong because I'm not. But I'm saying the foundation, if the foundation isn't solid, as the generations go on and you don't go back, that creates more of a problem. And that's where we are right now as far as like everything being accepted. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I'm going to have the same church conversation, but I'm going to give you the other point of view.
Go ahead.
When I was a kid, I went to church, and you were right. Everything was orderly. The big thing I want to talk about right now is women wearing pants to church.
Okay.
Let's go there.
Okay.
Because when I was a child, you dare not wear pants in that sanctuary. And the reason why you didn't wear pants in the sanctuary was because women were not supposed to wear what men wore. That was from the Bible. That was the mindset. It was that women don't dress like men, so you wear your dresses to church. Now, there was two things wrong with that. I ain't going to say wrong from the Bible, but from our interpretation. Because if it was wrong to do it then, how come we're allowed to do it now? And if you couldn't wear pants into the sanctuary, why was it okay if you could wear them in the street between Saturday and the next Sunday? I mean, you know, Monday through Saturday, women
You
wear
ain't going to
pants.
find no Pentecostal person wearing it. Go ahead. Now, but I'm saying back then.
But when we're trying to teach our young people, they see this stuff. Just like we're having conversations about what we're supposed to wear to church. We're having conversations about how you're supposed to behave in church. And then we say our foundation was strong. If the same God is our God today as yesterday, why can you wear pants to church today, but you couldn't wear pants to church 30 years ago? God did not change. Our young people see that, and that's part of why they rebel, because they have these questions. If this was godly then why is it come as you are now? And if it's come as you are now, why couldn't you come as you are then?
Right. And as a reader,
Yes,
if you read,
this
this is probably what happened. They're probably looking at, okay, now we look like pants. I done learned this stuff. Like,
because I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
Yes, come on, let's go there. Because
people
need to hear this.
Where does the word pants come from?
Come on, just tell it.
Come on.
Because we need to have this conversation.
Okay. So here you have pants. Pants come from pantaloons.
Pantaloons.
Now you remember those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, back in the day, in the biblical days, everybody wore dresses.
There you go.
Everybody wore dresses.
Sure did. The men too.
So what was women supposed to do then?
Right.
See?
So you're talking about a different time.
That's right.
So that's why I'm like, as a reader and then confirmation, I talk to different people because I be getting my little information. You look and you're like, okay, well here's pantaloons. I can't even remember who it was that actually started it. But I guess it was getting in the way, the skirts. So that's why the pantaloons were made, and then boom, pants. And now all of a sudden it's like men are to wear pants. Now I'm going to bring it current. I have an issue with women wearing with a camel toe showing in church because it's a distraction. So that's my thing. Do I think that we need to bring it back where we need to wear skirts? Yes. And that is so that you can stay focused on what it is that you need to stay focused on. Because some of these people, they don't know. Like, they're wearing pants and skin tight, yeast infection tomorrow. Like, it's just way too much.
But are we talking biblical law or social law, moral law?
Now,
what laws are being broken? This is what we need to be teaching our kids.
That's where we need to go. So back in the day, I ain't dating myself, but back in the day, you had biblical law. And that was the style. Let me put it that way. In those times, they wore skirts, bone the pantaloons came in, we were wearing pants, and the women still, I guess, wore the dresses. Now, you bring it up a little bit. Let's go with the 80s. We still rocked our dresses, and you couldn't even go in a church with your shoulders out.
Sure,
okay, your arms out.
That's right.
Couldn't.
And your skirt better be to your knees or below.
Absolutely. Or you was getting a lap scarf. And some of y'all don't know what no lap scarf is now.
I know what that is.
You be like, oh, wait. Oh, I guess
Or
when
a
I cross my
handkerchief
line.
one that was big enough something.
That's it, right? That's what a lap scarf is for the people that's listening and don't know. It's a oversized hanky that people don't blow their nose on. But you bring it to the 80s and you're like, okay. Then you bring it to the 90s. And that's when it was like women were going in with slacks. Early 90s, late 80s. Dress slacks. Now, this whole come as you are, remember it was like certain days in like, 92, 91.
This Sunday of the month or this certain event, you could do it, yeah.
Until all the way until now where it's come as you are. But see, the come as you are is not your attire.
So then why does it matter? See, the argument, and believe me, I'm on both sides of this. I'm sitting in your seat and mine. But when we are taking this out to the community of the people that we are trying to reach, this is the discussion that's being had.
Yes.
And that's why they stay away. Because if we can't agree on it, why would we draw them to it?
Now, that is true. But let me finish. The come as you are is your present state. And that's the way that I interpret it.
So if my present state is I can't get nobody to look at me and I don't like myself unless I'm half dressed and I'll get some attention and maybe some help, how you gonna kick me out and tell me where to sit?
We ain't gonna kick you out. We gonna usher you in the VIP section. Honey, you special. You going on the VIP section.
So you still singling me out. Listen,
I got you. I feel you.
This is what they doing. This is what these young people are
I ain't gonna hit you with a bag of skirts and a smock like I got hit with. I ain't lying. I got hit with that at one church on Elm Street, but we gonna keep that. Yes, I did, because I went in there with some pants on. Yes, I did. Went in there with some pants on because I was pregnant, and guess who wasn't? Who couldn't fit nothing?
So I had in the pants. Who went to church in her pants?
The woman who, and my stomach was out, and I had this. It was like a big oversized top and they were like maternity pants, stretchy. And I don't wear tight clothes anyway. So I felt it was appropriate, and it covered my butt the whole nine. Well, I don't need your bag of skirts. So I feel you on that because I was singled out. I've experienced it. So I don't think that it's like you saying, yes, they are. But here's the thing. You got to protect your pastor at all times. So if you are getting attention with these low-cut shirts, you can see it all on social media where they have absolutely nothing on just to get likes. That's a problem.
So if your pastor is a man and you got to protect your pastor's mind so that he is not distracted, then why do we condemn the one who falls off? Because he's a man too.
Exactly. I got a problem with that because he's a man first. I have a problem with that. I don't condemn him. And y'all better not be talking about my pastor. I love him. And guess what? I'm happy he ain't with a man.
So we have all of this controversy amongst us. And you and I are just trying to show two sides of the same coin. What happens when we go into the community, though, and we're trying to tell these people what coming to God and coming to church is, and we can't agree on it? That's what part of the problem. So where is the foundation strong at? Your foundation is stronger in this household. You can defend the foundation of this house stronger than you can defend the foundation of the church.
Well. Well, okay then.
Yes.
Well, amen.
Like you said, we got to protect the pastor at all costs.
We
need to start praying for these
and you are right, and that's probably why a lot of people don't come into the church because, yes, their foundation in their home is a lot stronger than their foundation inside the church. And you do have to understand that pastors are men.
I agree with that.
And you're looking at a man. And let's talk about the women that go to church to look at the pastor. Quit playing.
You got several.
And some of them got dresses to go down to their ankles. That's looking at
right.
The
Exactly.
That's the church flirt. I got a play for you, pastor. Flirt. Right.
Look,
I'm like church flirt.
And you done said several lines from Sister Betty.
Yes.
During the whole conversation, I'm sitting there going,
I remember that line.
I said that.
Yeah, I said that.
I remember saying that too.
It is. Listen, because you have to protect the pastor at all times, and he is a man, and you have those other men out there that have a problem when they have like their girlfriends or their wives going to church, and they're like, well, I have to pay this and I have to pay that. You have men that are upset and jealous of the pastor. Let's keep it real. They're like, why you taking my money, going there to that dude, and he driving A, B, C, and D, and we rolling over here and nothing.
I hear that a lot.
That's a problem
nowadays too.
That's a problem because here's the deal.
Why you paying tithes and all you doing is paying tithes for this man to be driving a Cadillac and listen, you don't know what he does outside of this man. Probably could have a degree and is an engineer, and that's how he is buying his car. It ain't about him taking money from the church. Yes, pastors do get paid for being a pastor of a certain church, but what he do with his salary ain't got nothing to do with you doing your duty in the church and paying your tithes, period, point blank.
Here's my thing. Can you ask that man, when you go to work, do you plan on getting paid? Why is it that if you're called and you're a pastor, that is your job? Why do pastors have to feel guilty about getting paid for their services when when I go to work, I expect to get paid.
Exactly.
And I expect I should be able to buy whatever I want. Are you going to tell me, oh, okay, well, Mel, you're a nurse. You need to be over here doing CPR on all these other people and passing these medication and doing assessments and making sure that they're okay. And we ain't going to pay you because those people, the same people that you're helping are the ones that's saying that, oh, look at her. She doing A, B, C, and D, and she's doing that off of me. No. Being in the ministry, that is your job.
Exactly.
And you have to study. Look at Kim Ham, the go-to girl. You have to study. So people want her advice and listening to her as a life coach. They don't expect to pay her. They're like, oh, you're benevolent. You grew up in the church. You know what? How about you just offer your services for free? But you're going to go ahead and pay somebody else to come in and talk. I got a problem with that. But them your people. Okay? Those are your people.
Put it on out there. Our people, meaning black folks, y'all got a problem paying your own people, but you don't have a problem paying the white man, but then you always want to talk, man. Child, listen.
And that's an issue.
That is a big issue.
And then you constantly say, oh, we need to support our own. Mm-hmm. The only time you want to support your own is when it benefits you.
Exactly.
Support me. So why don't you just say, support me? Not anybody else. And then you get an attitude when somebody supports somebody else. Come on, Stingy. Nene. Look, Stingy, Nene, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's go on back and bring it tied all together. That's an issue for me. And I want to talk about like those husbands that find themselves jealous of the pastor. They probably won't admit it. But that's it. When you sit there and you're like, why are you giving him all your money? Blah, 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 like we talked about as far as like paying the tithes. But who keeping the building running? And 9 times out of 10,
it's the people that's paying their tithes is keeping the building running.
And here's the issue. The pastor, now we talk about a business. You said it shouldn't be a business. Was that you? There was somebody that said something about, or it probably was a previous conversation. You know, they all be swirling in my head. The pastor don't, like when you pay your offering, the pastor is not back there counting the money. Now, who done stole the church's money? It ain't the pastor.
It's the treasurer.
Look at her. It's the treasurer. Sister Betty said it's the treasurer. and we know that you got, 3 people on the account? Mm-hmm. So it's the treasurer and them.
Hey, we had that issue in our church too. Bam!
Okay then. So, and here's the thing. You got the people on the outside that's saying what's happening in the church. Oh, look, he with this person. And they're looking to point the finger at the pastor as soon as he falls.
And the pastor don't have nothing to do with it because he don't see none of that because people are appointed to do that. But everything always falls back on your pastor, which is wrong. Okay. It's wrong.
And back to these pastors having affairs, I ain't lying. Ooh. Look.
I ain't mean to ding the bell, but
I think she did. Moment. I think she did. That was a dingable moment.
I was say it was a dingable moment?
Yes! Yes! And as far as like the pastors having affairs, I just feel like long as it ain't an affair, and I shouldn't be this way, but it's the truth. I would prefer my pastor as a man to have an affair with a female than a male. I ain't judging. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Huh? What'd you say? I was judging. It's my view. Yes, it is. And I ain't judging, but I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just going to put it like that.
I'm sitting here eating raisins and sipping on coffee.
Hey, look, that's her popcorn, right? That's her popcorn.
In the chilled seat today.
I just think it's a lot of pressures, and not even just like for like husbands. And here's the deal, let's move it away from church. Kim keep taking us back to church. Look.
Okay, I'm done. I'm out of church. You said church the second time, though.
Yeah, I did, but right. You started.
Look, and how did we even get on the conversation of church?
Well, listen, we got on it because of this stuff that's happening.
That's where the foundation starts. That's why. Okay,
there you go.
With that. Go ahead.
Let's go with basic husbands. And I should say basic, but I am. Let's go with the basic husband. Here you have a husband and a wife. Boom. that husband, follow me, that husband is being ridiculed by and hawked by all the wife's family and friends.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
The wife is being watched by that husband's aunt, grandma. The younger ones ain't really, and the younger ones, the way that they're watching that husband or that wife is to make sure they're not being hurt. But then you have those people on that female side that's trying to get with that husband. And then that wife, because we talking about Wendy. We talking about in divorce and sanction. So if you plan on being with your husband, just be with him. What's your thoughts on if a married couple, the reason she steps out and make her decision to go ahead and divorce or get rid of that individual is because of everybody else? That's why I brought that up. Social, the people around her. So you have somebody to say, oh girl, I leave him and I go, and you make your judgment off of what somebody else thinks.
I don't never make a judgment. I make a judgment off of me. And that's happened before. When I got tired the first 2 times, that's when I walked away. I had my mom, especially the first one. She didn't like the first one, in my ear. You need to get rid of him. He ain't no good. Friends, get rid of him. He ain't no good. So guess what? That made me stay. When I got tired, I left.
She said that made her stay.
Yeah. The second one, my mom really loved him. And even though he did, well, y'all talked about it, you forget. But if you can't, if it's so bad that you cannot stay, then you go. And it got so bad that I just got tired, especially when him and best friend decided to mess around. I wanted to say something else, but brother, you got to go.
Now, best friend and messed around. Did you confide in best friend?
Best friend was it? No, not really too much. Best friend, I started noticing the shift when I wouldn't hear from best friend for 2 months, but then all of a sudden my husband on the phone, hi, sis, you crazy and this and that. Who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to Sean. When you tell best friend, I said.
She said today, didn't you?
She
go ahead,
away almost a year ago. Lord bless the dead, but I was still mad at her when she did. But you tell her that I said it would sure be nice to hear from my best friend. I ain't heard from you too much. My number work will half the time when I call you, you don't answer the phone.
That's because
last year.
Guess what? Here's the thing though.
And
she's not going to answer the phone. You know why she's not going to answer the phone? So that she doesn't feel guilty.
Exactly. Then she'll call him. Can you come help me move further? And stuff like
Calling
that.
him.
And I would say something. I said something to him. I was like, listen, this is starting to... He said something to her. So she comes to visit me one day. I was really sick and said, I came to see what you was doing, see how you was doing, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, me and Dre talked, and it kind of hurt.
Look her put it all out there.
Know, hey.
This is to show that people get healed.
Yes. Basically, like,
this is shop talk. Go ahead.
I would never do that to you. You know that. Me and you grew up together, but Dre don't have nobody up here. He don't have no family. All his family's in Georgia and this and that. That's my business to deal with, boo-boo. Not yours. That's my business.
So was that...
You were supposed to be my best friend. So
you did talk to her about it?
Yeah, but it didn't matter because then she got mad at me over another situation because she decided to mess around with my sister's boyfriend. She told me about it. I didn't say nothing to my sister because anytime my sister got back with this guy, she stopped speaking to me. And whenever we told her about her boyfriend that she'd been dealing with for almost 30 years off and on, she would get mad at everybody. So I stopped saying stuff.
All right, let's bring this back. Let's reel this in a little bit. So, you don't listen to what other people say. You make your own decisions.
I make my own decision.
What about you?
Of course you make your own decisions. The problem comes in, though. Okay, I'm trying not to go to the go-to girl answer for this.
No, go to it.
First of all, oftentimes we invite people into our situations by the conversations that we have. And as long as the conversation is going in our way, our comfort zone to our advantage, we kind of rolling with it. When the controversy comes in, that is when that person realizes just how strongly they stand in themselves. Because now you have to make the decision. Do I do what looks right or do I do what feels right? And that's where people start to waver. And part of that is because you opened the door for people to try to tell you what to do with your circumstances. Because when it felt good to talk smack and you were venting and you getting the feedback that you needed, it's okay. Well, now that everybody is telling you what's going on, now you feel compelled to do something because you are actually the one oftentimes that put it out there.
Uh-huh.
Had to learn.
Yes,
Had to
But
learn.
at the end of the day, you should be able to stand in your own self and come to the decision on your own. Sometimes the opinions are unsolicited, but a lot of times you have to think, what did I say to give them the ammunition to tell me to go in the first place? Sometimes you set it up like that.
And you are absolutely correct, because there's a young lady who was having issues with her husband, and she dogged her husband because he left her pretty much and went out. He's doing this, he's doing that, and blah 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 blah. So she wanted everybody to side with her, team her. And I was hearing, I'm like, let me not say the name. I was like, but team her. And then she decided to go back to him. And now you want us, the community, I'll say that, the voice of the community, Shop Talk with Mel, you want us to accept him. How is that possible?
Right, after you dogged him out.
After you made us not like this individual, how is that acceptable?
But what happens is, what we have to realize is we have to allow everybody to be who they are. And if she took him back, then why we hating?
Right.
I mean, you know, when you have people in these types of situations where you have a marriage or a union or whatever, and they say everything they needed to say to vent and get it off their chest, and now you mad at him and they can take him back, then why can't you?
Right.
Because
It's like
at the
that
end
old
of the
saying.
day, if he's in the circle because of her, and she brought him back into the circle, then what's your problem with it?
Like they say, if you like it,
I love it. And so, yeah, you may not like him. You don't have to smile in his face. But out of respect for her, whether you agree with her or not, if you accepting her and she's accepting him, then what gives you the right not to? Part of that is we create our own mess. Because what we need to say when she going off and talking about him is absolutely nothing. Now, that's what we really need to say.
Just listen.
And I've gotten to the point where when people are telling me things like that, and the phone gets real quiet, or the room gets real quiet, and they say, well, you ain't got nothing to say? And I have to say, well, I was waiting for permission to speak. Because do you want me to say something, or do you want me to listen? That's the first question. The second question is, do you want me to say what I think, or what you want me to say?
Or what you want to hear.
That's it. Do you want me to say what you want me to say, or do you want to know what I've got to say? Because that's where all of this goes wrong. As long as she is with that man and he ain't killing her and you and breaking laws and putting your life in danger, if she took him back, why you hating? That's her mess, not yours.
Well, let's give a round of applause. And it definitely is her mess if she chooses to stay. I don't get how, we kind of just, look at her. See, you can't be distracting me. I don't get how we can allow our people to come in. And I'm going to speak on mother-in-laws. I guess. Let the church say.
Well, you already know
Amen,
my story on
amen.
that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak on mother-in-laws. And that's hard because, like, socially, we talked about the friends and what they say, and we value their opinion. Now let's talk about our moms. And you, of course, you value your parents' opinion. What happens when that shifts? As far as when it takes place, where she's listening to her mom, and now pretty much she's listening to her mom so much that he's no longer married to her. He's married to her mother.
Girl, I don't even know where to start with this because you already know that I have a story about that. There's a situation in my family where two people were getting married, and the couple themselves, they were doing fine with each other. But the bride to be was so close to her mother that they could not make any step toward that wedding unless that mother had input. My answer to that is, the first rule that you must learn to salvage your relationship with your mother and your spouse is to keep your relationship with your spouse out of your relationship with your mother, and keep your relationship with your mother out of your relationship with your spouse. Because what we do is we try to make everybody one big happy family, except for when things go to the left, that's still going to be my mom. That may not always be my man.
Right.
And so you have to,
that's the thought that everybody has.
right. But you have
A lot of people.
But you have to tread that carefully. Of course, you want to share things with your mom and your dad and your family. You want to share because that's the relationship that you have. But at the moment that you make the decision to make yourself responsible, accountable, and part of this person, that becomes your, if you will, primary relationship responsibility. And that's where things go wrong. I can't tell my mother every time my husband ticks me off because she's my mother. I can't tell my mother every time I'm having a really bad day because as my mother, she's going to go into protect me mode. That's a given. You have to think about that. We're so emotional. And when these emotions flare up, everything gets mixed up. And then when everybody goes back to baseline, the damage has been done.
Now, I have to say on mine, yeah, your mother goes into protect mode, but mine, she'll tell me when I'm wrong.
My mother, my
too.
mother will tell me when I'm wrong, but she's going to tell me when he's wrong too.
Yep.
One thing I like about my mom, as long as she ain't saying nothing, we good. If she says something, because my mom don't get in my business like that. She didn't get into that other situation. Once
Man, she cold because I would have gotten that one.
Once my mother says something, we listen.
Because
she does not get into our business like that.
And that's nice. And that's
and
nice.
She is fair. She's going to tell you, and I'm fair. If you come to me about somebody in my family or somebody I'm close to, I'm fair with it. Because every situation, every game got two players. Mm-hmm. Even if you're playing against the game system, there's two players. Mm-hmm. So what role did you play to get this here? Sometimes inaction is the best thing you can do to stop something from jumping off. Other times you need to do something. So let's go back to you first. And that's advice that I learned from one of my coaching sessions a long time ago. When people come to you with conflict, start with them.
You have to.
Start with what you did.
You have to.
And so I think that when we get all of this extra stuff, in-laws and parents and things like that, first of all, it didn't start with the wedding. You knew when you got hooked up with them that their mama is always in their business. You knew when you hooked up with them that they gonna tell their sister every single thing. You already know because you done heard them doing it. They done talked about other folks to you. So what makes you think you're immune? You're not. So don't act like you didn't know this was gonna happen.
Or think it's gonna change.
Girl, you hit the nail on the head. It's not going to change. So that magician in you got to shut that down. This is what you have.
Child number 3 is a mama's boy, mama's boy, mama's boy. I'm telling you. And we finally have gotten to the point.
But you know he's a mama's boy.
What I tell you about the mama's boy?
He's
we have finally gotten to a point where even with me and my mother-in-law, we have an understanding now. We talk, and she finally got to a point where she's seeing both sides of the story now, and she's been digging in that behind real good.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Now,
how long did it take for her to get there?
Let me see. We've been married going almost 4 years. Almost 4 years.
I knew that was going to be it. Like almost 4 years.
Basically, just
but here's the thing.
months.
When you deal with mama's boys and you have society, I'll speak the community that's saying, oh, if he treat his mama right, he going to treat you right. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. I believe him, but follow me. Let me tell you why. As long as the mama is alive, you ain't getting nothing. Now, when mama die, then maybe he'll treat you well. But guess what? She's always in that position. Always in that position. And that's why I'm like, he take care of his mama. You know he gonna take care of you when she die. When she die. Because he tired.
Maybe not even then.
Exactly.
Because he tired?
Not even then.
Because he tired like I ain't doing that. That's that actual old adage I don't agree with. As far as like, when just like, and I think we all at the table thinking, agreeing on the same thing. That does not always work out that way because you are not their mother.
Exactly.
And that's it.
You are not their mother. It was a guy, I think I shared with you guys, it was a guy. And I said, hey, ride with me. We pull up to the gas station. Did I share this with you? Mm-hmm. Pull up to the gas station. And they sat with their seatbelt on. And I told him, and he didn't understand what the issue was. Guess what? That was the last ride that we ever had. And he was like, why wouldn't you talk to me? He asked years later. And I said, because when I went to go pay, because, you know, this wasn't at the pump thingy. When I went to go pay, you still had your seatbelt on. I should not have had to ask you as a grown man
should have been in the tank
to pump my gas. Guess what? I don't have time to teach a grown man. This is something that you should already be doing. And guess what that meant? To me, that's when they say, oh, Mill, you just be like, boom, it ain't going to work. My thing is, like today's show, if it don't fit, don't force it. I know that I'm not going to be telling you what you need to do. And I asked him the question. I said, do you pump your mother's gas? He said, absolutely. Boom. I ain't that special to you because you would have got out and pumped the gas. I already knew it wasn't going to work. And I'm like, why waste the time? Why waste the time?
And people do what they are taught to. You know, there's so much to answering these questions because some people do what they see. Some people do the opposite of what they see. Well, you know, I got out and I pumped so-and-so's gas and I was treating them like a lady opening doors and I got dogged. So sometimes you got to be punished for what somebody else did.
Well, guess what
there's
that means?
so many different things out there.
Good day, because if you that petty...
It ain't petty to them. They're scared.
Guess what?
They're
Bye.
Scared.
I ain't got time to build. No more. I ain't got time to prove myself.
But we get along. Why can't you work with me? You always see how that other. It's always two sides to a coin.
And it is. And guess what? So look at me. No,
I ain't got time to figure it out. I'm with you because I'm definitely at that age in my life. I ain't got time to be trying to rebuild you. However.
Right.
There are people out there who understand that there's things that need to be worked through. So if everything else was tight and he just didn't pump your gas, was the pumping of the gas in and of itself the deal breaker?
It was a deal breaker. Let me tell you why. That right there, and it seems real minute, that means that I'm going to have to teach you something. If you don't, to be a gentleman, that's it. And that's what attracts me to people, the gentleman. And if you can't do that, you can have whatever you want. Oh, guess what? That told me, Mel, you're going to be pumping the gas and next you're going to be cutting the grass. She is not having that. And you sitting there chilling, watching TV or doing whatever it is that you're doing. No, no, and no. And I should not have to tell you that you need to be doing this. This stuff should have been, like you said, already taught. Mm-hmm. It should have, if it has not, and you over 40, over 30, something's wrong with that picture. And like I said, I asked $1 million question. Now, if he sat in the car with his mama and she pumped the gas, like I said, was going to happen with this mother-son dance. I was like, that's just crazy. Because your father-daughter dance is to teach your daughter how to be dated. The mother-son dance, you doing everything. So you teaching your son that, guess what, women do this and I drive you around. No. So look, back to what I'm saying. That's how I felt. I'm like.
Did he explain to you why he didn't do it? Did he see it when you said it?
Yes. Let me tell you what he said to me. He said, I didn't know. Now, I'm going to let you go ahead. He said it. So we're cool. But I was like, wow, you didn't know. You knew how to treat your mom. You know that you don't want your mother pumping the gas by herself. You know what I mean? You're going to pump the gas for mom. Why don't you know to pump the gas for a female? So the way that I received it, my experience of it was, I'm not that special to you. I need to be special because mama's special.
I had a client once. I love stuff like this. Mm-hmm. I had a client and she and this guy were dating and she could not understand why he was offended by her not wanting him to open the doors for her every time they went somewhere. Because to her, to have him do that was a sign that she was weak and vulnerable. And I don't need you to do these things for me. Now, this is true story
stuff.
She's
crazy.
For real. But
she got her own issues.
In her mind, when she was taught, you make sure you can hold your own, the gentleman thing, that's not where she took it straight across the board. I am glad that you would do it for me, but I don't need you to do it for me. That is why I said,
I want you to do it
and
for
I'm like,
me.
I want you to give me the opportunity to say no. But
can I be a girl?
Thank you.
That's all I'm saying.
What is girl? What is there? And there are men who will tell you women are so to the other side. We don't know what to do for them. Gender roles have changed. Although to me, pumping of the gas, that should have been a given. He should have realized that if you're going in to pay for it, the least he can do is pump it. But that's because we're going from our baseline level of knowledge. Everybody is not there. Even though it may seem like that's common sense, it might seem like that's the right thing to do. Everybody's head is coming from a different place these days because we just said things have changed.
Right.
So sometimes you got to say, what is this person thinking? Because to us, that's common sense. Plus, if it was an older gentleman, they would have known to get out and pump that gas.
Foundation.
Thank you.
What age group was this man in? What generation is he from? Because
I'm about to tell you what generation. Right now, he is 49.
Oh, he played too much.
This happened back in our 30s.
So
he knew, but he was honest, and that's what I can appreciate because I shared when he asked.
But he said he didn't know though, right?
Yes, he said he didn't know. And guess what? With all those brothers, mother and father in the same household, you would think that they would know that, but you can't assume
that's right.
that they would know. So when he shared that, I was like, "You didn't?" He was like, "No." But guess what? From that day forward,
because you did teach him. You didn't want to, but you ended up teaching him anyway.
Yeah, not with me. No.
Yeah, but he didn't know. So what you looked at as disrespect, he had no clue.
Had no clue.
And that's happening a lot in our society. And so, that's why I said, was that your deal breaker?
That was my deal breaker.
Because I'm thinking he was oblivious to that.
He was, and he
because
said
how many other women has he been in the car with?
That's what I got. That they just went on and pumped it. That's a problem.
Now, once in a blue moon, I'll go ahead and pump it, but the majority of the time, when me and my husband are together, whether I'm driving and I go pay, or whether he driving and he either paying and pumping, or if I pay, he pump. But once in the blue moon, I'll pump, and he'll be like, I was getting ready to get out the car and do that. No, I got it, because he do it all the time. My problem with him is the doors. He don't always do that. Sometimes he just walk in, and sometimes I have to sit there like, now sometimes he know to open the door and let me in first. But a lot of times he just walk on in the door, and sometimes I'll stand there outside
and
the door.
that's what you have to do.
And
you have to stand there.
Bruh.
Now, let me be clear on this. Now, if somebody is not feeling well or they can't get out and I can do it faster, then yes, I'll pump my gas. If they have those issues. Even with when you deal with opening the door. Yes, I want you to open my door, but if it's cold outside and you move it too slow, guess who opening their own door? Mm-hmm. Me. Let me hurry get up in this car. You move too slow. I got to hurry up and get it. So that's the difference. But like I was saying with as far as like treat me, I want to be a girl. I want to be a girl, especially when you hold certain jobs, when you're in management. I've been in management for years. So I don't want to come home and still have to be in management. And that's why it was a deal breaker for me. Mm-hmm. I'm doing in-services, for people. And it's like, okay. And how can you be my man? And I have to give you an in-service. I don't want to do that when I go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you ought to know this. So I already knew it wasn't going to work. We could be friends, but I knew it wasn't going to work. Because there's certain things that I actually require.
And the lesson here is everybody has standards.
Yes.
But some standards are priority.
Yes.
Treat me like a girl is your priority standard. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because so many people get caught up in situations because what if you had let that go? And now you're involved with him. And it's always there because now you're waiting for him to treat you like a lady.
Yeah, I ain't got that time.
And every single time something isn't just right, it's going to always be an issue.
And bother me.
When you have a priority standard, stick with that. Because if you don't, somewhere along the way, there's going to be other issues that come up because you have already compromised who you were for that relationship.
And you need
and people don't understand that.
At the beginning, you need to say,
if you don't want him smoking, don't think he's gonna quit. He smokes. If you don't want him drinking, don't think he's going to quit. He drinks. And so often we get caught up in the I'm going to change game. I'm going to teach him game. That's why I'm bringing that up. Not just because of the door situation or the gas pump. If you have standards and then you have priority standards, those are the ones that are not going to be compromised. So don't compromise yourself for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud you for that. So, we having the conversation, and for the sake of...
Wait a minute. Let me get my sound effects. Well, she applaud me. Boom. Here's my applause.
It just would have gone downhill from there, even when he did other innocent things, because he didn't even realize he was doing something wrong.
Absolutely.
So every single time he did something that you didn't prefer, there was going to always be the issue.
I would be miserable.
You'd be going right back to the gas pump.
Yeah, I'll be miserable, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, and I already knew. Why waste time? Now let's talk. You share as far as like with your mom, and she's going to be in protective mode. And yes, our parents are in protective mode. But like I said, mine, she'll tell me when I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Now I would say our personalities are different. Mm-hmm. Mine and my mom, look, I could speak on that. Where there's things that she'll actually put up with. It's not a big deal to her. Where something might be major, it's a big deal to me. And it's like, oh, well, look at it this way. My thing is, if you see one red flag, it's usually a parade to follow. And I ain't got that to do. I don't want no parts of that parade, okay? So when you see that red light, it's like, oh, that ain't gonna work. And I just do it off the top. And that's why they call me a runner. I feel like people who are meant to be together, they will be together. And when those deal breakers come, I'm not compromising. I'm not doing any of that. Now, if you're married, that's different. But like you said, Kim Ham, the go-to girl, like she said, y'all heard her, at the beginning, you have to set your standards at the very beginning so that, like she said, if they drink, you think you getting with the person that they're going to stop. No, they might not drink around you because they're trying to win you, but they still drink. That's what they do. And I just feel like, if you know it, and as far as the world is turning so fast right now, I don't have that to do, and I'm not settling. I'll be by myself before I settle, and you know that. Look, I point at her, and you know that. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm trying, but no. Until this is corrected, then we can move forward. If it's not corrected, we could be on pause, but I ain't on pause.
That's right.
It's like, we're on pause, but I'm not on pause. So once it all pan out, there you go. You heard me? We're on pause, but I'm not on pause. Okay? So it's like you do what you have to do, and whoever is meant to be together will be together, and who's not, they won't. But if this is my issue, and I'm telling you this is my issue, and you're like, okay, I'll correct this issue, you can't wait, because guess what? It's going to come back if that's who they are. It's going to come a year later, and it's like, what you going to do? And I just don't have that to do, and I ain't going to be miserable nowhere. Call me selfish, and I always look at my personal gain. What can I benefit from everything that I do? And I encourage everybody and all the listeners out there, you need to look at things and say, how does this benefit me? You learn something every day. Everything happens for a reason. The person that you encounter, even if you're like, why am I turning left? How is this benefiting me? Just like when, and anybody know me, I'll be on the freeway, I'll be sitting there like, can y'all hurry up and drive? And then I have to say, whoop, Mel, bring it down. Mm-hmm. Because maybe it was an accident up there that God prevented you from being in. So I have to stop. But you have to look at everything. How is this benefiting me? Don't just be with somebody just because you don't have nobody else to be with and you lonely. Honey, y'all can have an arrangement. Okay. All right. No fornication. The Bible said don't fornicate. Y'all can have an understanding. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can have an understanding to be like, okay, it's just you and I, but that might not be the person that you might need a maintenance man. Shout out to Michael Baisden. Might need a maintenance man, and be like, okay, well, I'll be your maintenance man. Cool.
Just like you got the cleanup woman.
Y'all clean up. Don't talk about the cleanup woman. And up here want to argue. Ain't having it. All right, let's talk about this abortion law. Ohio went on ahead and feel as though that, passed a law regarding not getting an abortion after the first heartbeat is heard. Now, I'm just going to lay this out here. Usually, when we get knocked up, we don't know we pregnant at first until we miss our cycle, which is that first month, until you go and you hear it. You be like, oh, snap. How do you feel about that new law?
And not putting out pro-choice, pro-life, I feel that a person's body and what they do with it is theirs to do. Because when you start arguing the other aspects of that, that takes you to a whole list of other things. Capital punishment. We find ways to make it okay to do certain things and find other ways to make it okay not to do other things. So from the perspective of the person who is pregnant, that is her body. And just like she made a choice to put something in it, it's not up to me for her to tell her what to take out of it.
Well, that was very clean. Thank you. Because you know how I want to put it out. Go ahead.
I don't agree with that either, because there are certain circumstances where a person may have to have an abortion. So now they're going to get punished along with the doctor if the doctor feels like, you know, there's something wrong with this baby and that person is dealing with, well, do I want to spend the rest of my life and all this money that I don't have to take care of a child that is going to be very sick and may not live to a certain age? That, you know, who wants to go through and bury a child at a young age, things like that. So in that instance, yes, I do agree. I don't agree with abortion, but in instances like this, yes, I do, because it can be very expensive to take care of a sick child. It's very devastating for some people to lose a child at an early age. Who wants to go through that? So if the doctor suggests an abortion, then yes, you should do it for those reasons. So I really don't agree with that ban. Okay. But like she said, it's the person's body. That's their business.
So do you think that they're basing this decision off of, because we know having sex is having sex is created for procreation and not recreation. So do you think that they're basing this decision off of recreational sex and you get pregnant and, oh my gosh, I don't want it?
Probably.
I have a friend of mine who has a child. I want to say she's probably like 25, 26 now. She was, her family didn't believe in abortions. She was raped. And she had this child. Now, if that was a male child, I don't know what they deal with, because I really don't talk about it, because it's such, I remember when it first went down and it was like, oh my gosh, you were raped walking home from practice and you don't know this person. You have a child now who wants to know their other side. Who am I related to? Who's my family? And in cases like that, I feel like, you know, the family loved that child, but is she looking at her child? Some people can love their child, and some people can look at their child as, you know, out of resentment. And is she looking, or will a female look at her child and say, I don't even know who you are, and not give that love that they actually need? And then they're screwed up as an adult. Like I said, in this situation, she had a female child, and it does make a difference. I have to say, her being a female and a female child versus if that was a male child. So if you have a male child, and we already know how they respond when the father is not active, and they know who the father is. So just imagine if somebody raped my mother and she had me. So will they, grow up to hate themselves? Or, it's a lot of things to take into consideration, or I can't direct my anger at anybody because I don't even know who this person is. She doesn't know who it is. So the anger is directed at mom. Those are, to me, that's kind of like one of those cases where you got raped. You don't even know. Why bring somebody else into this world that may potentially be screwed up too? And then you're looking at resenting this child. A mother's love, let's be real, a mother's love is not always a mother's love, depending on the circumstance. So, my question is, as far as that goes, what do you think with this whole law? Should it be individually judged, and why are these men, why do we have to go to them to tell them pretty much what you said, Kim Ham?
Also, there's so many things to this story. Let's go back to if the child is sick, because I just had someone on my show 2 weeks ago where her doctors told her the baby was not going to be okay. Point blank suggested that she abort this pregnancy.
Okay.
That baby is perfectly fine.
Okay.
So sometimes the doctors don't always know.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to add in all these factors, and even if I can't go back to the church, but
you can do what you do.
If life is at the heartbeat, then what was it before the heartbeat? I mean, who are we to say when this became a viable life? Mm-hmm. I mean, the arguments don't change. So what was the point of the law?
Amen.
I mean, the debates are still there.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what is the point? I mean, I don't know. My brain is just going so many different directions because there's so many factors to consider here. You know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. And if it's not wrong, it's not wrong. Because life is life. If that's their argument, why are we going through all of this?
There you go. Why are we going through all of it? Because they ain't got nothing else to do.
That's not my call.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. How is a man making a law about abortion when y'all don't even carry the baby? You don't have that burden. So that's not your job to ban it.
And don't complain then when these women who have been forced to have these babies can't afford to take care of them, and now our Medicaid system has to do it because you told them to have the baby.
And that's my thing there too. They're like making these women get jobs that have so many babies. They're cutting you off after so many children on welfare and everything else, and they're complaining. But then you're going to turn around and put a ban on abortion.
And then make birth control free. Come on, let's do something here.
Yeah, there you go.
If we pick and choose which part of the problems we want to address. So if you're going to say that once that heartbeat is there, you're going to take care of that baby, and you're looking at this woman and you know she doesn't have the means to do it, or even if she's married and she and her husband don't have the means to do it, then you be prepared as a society to help them raise it.
Right.
All right. Now, I did have a question way back on when I was talking about people being in other folks' business, but you answered that. So, I had to bring it back because I was getting ready to ask the question, and I know the people that are listening probably like, go ahead with your question. She answered it way back then, so that's why I didn't finish it. So don't think like Mel started asking the question, then she stopped me in stream. And I just had to put that out there. Okay. I'm like, and I just had to put that out there.
That is the craziest law to me, though.
It is. Hey, you know what time it is?
Mel's Medical Moments.
Yes, hey. This is Mel's Medical Moments. We're going to talk about measles. Now, I don't know if you guys know it's like a state of emergency. Yeah, they bringing it throwback measles. How we do that, right? A couple states over, Rockland County, which is in New York, and we're in Ohio. That's where we are, lovely people. Ohio rep. All right, what is measles? In case you don't know, it's a viral disease that lives in the nose, throat, mucus, and of an infected person causing fever or red rash on the skin. You want to know how is it spread? Well, Mel, how is it spread? I'm getting ready to tell you. Through coughing and sneezing. Now, I want to let you guys know that measles virus can live up to 2 hours in an airspace where the infected person has coughed or sneezed. Now, y'all know everybody got these coughs. What? That lingering cough? I'll be like, ooh, hold on, ready to duck. Symptoms of measles, in case you don't know and you are the millennial that don't know anything about this. Rash, fever accompanied by, but not limited to, the cough, the runny nose, and the red eyes. So you may mistake it as just your regular common cold. So I want you guys to be aware. Can measles be treated with medication? No. I'm getting ready to tell you, there's no medication to make measles go away. However, there is a vaccine. It's available to decrease your chances of catching the measles. Now, some of you guys, hold on, excuse me. Some of you guys know it as, it's included in your MMR, mumps, measles, and rubella. So if you have that, you're good. And it's about 97% effective preventing the measles. Now, how long does the vaccine last, you ask? I got you covered. Usually that vaccine lasts after the second dose, because you get, what is it, 2? I want to say it's 2 MMRs. 2 MMRs. Anyway, you are protected for more than 20 years. So you could go ahead and get a booster if that's what you want to do for the adults. And some of you guys want to know, but I will tell you this, because I know somebody's asking, do adults need the booster? Because that's a question that I would ask. Yeah, look at it like, hold on. The CDC considers people who receive 2 doses of the measles vaccine as children, according to the U.S. vaccination schedule, is protected for life, and they do not ever need to get a booster.
Oh, okay. Good.
So there's medical moments. Look, I'm like, there's a male's medical moments with the booster. Well, not the booster, with the measles vaccine and people coughing and everybody in small spaces. So you'd be like, that came from the nurse's desk. Yes, I gave all my teachers that. So I had to get out. I was like, you know what? Let me pull this and we'll do that for male's medical moments. So there you have it. If you have any questions, go ahead. You can Google the Center for Disease Control, www.cdc.com, and get all the information that you need. They'll help you. And I'm sure there's a phone number or a hotline on there and you can ask. And if you want to know if you have measles, just call your doctor. Because for a minute, it was 2 weeks ago where everybody was having like the high fevers.
Yeah.
And it was
Been
like
having an outbreak of it for a minute though.
And the cough, and that lingering cough. So now you already know. I be walking around like, first they be like, TB. Remember everybody like, oh, TB, hold on. So that's what's out there. So protect yourself at all times. I ain't saying everybody need to walk around with a mask on, but if you have a cough, go ahead and put that mask on.
Get you one of them.
How about that? The person with
the Lysol.
And listen, you don't ask me. I be spraying all over like, I don't want nothing just in case. You know what I'm saying? There was a child that passed away, not from the measles, but this thing that's going on, this virus that was happening. And I'm thinking, I didn't really read a lot of it, but she was a little child, and I'm thinking she probably passed from aspiration. So when you cough so bad and keep coughing and coughing and coughing and can't gasping for air and can't cough it up. So that will do it. Now, what else we got to talk about? Nipsey Hussle. Yes, Nipsey. Yeah, because I was going to say Nipsey Russell. I was like, wait, Nipsey Hussle, the guy that was doing so much. So much in the community, and he got killed, and it was just like a whole bunch of what happened, blah, 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 blah. Well, your boy Suge Knight, I don't even know why they even go into the prison to talk to this cat. He talks about Nipsey being, since he had a love for his neighborhood, and he feels as though when you have a love for your neighborhood, you're a target. So you put yourself at risk instead of moving to Hollywood. So a lot of the artists that do a lot of good. I ain't gonna say a little like Frankie Halfacre. Let me shout out Frankie Halfacre. Doing a little good in the neighborhood. When you have somebody that does that and they stay, that's why he's saying he put himself at risk. And as far as like being a target, he stayed in his community in LA. And he was like, this is what I'm doing. Versus if you move to Hollywood and you still do good, it's kind of watered down. So Suge Knight actually said something that made some sense. I was like, okay, for the people that's loyal to their neighborhood. And of course, he made it about himself. Yes, he did. And he said he's loyal to his neighborhood. So the hood has access to you. And so that's pretty much it. I didn't watch the entire service that he had because you're going to ask me who is Nipsey Hussle. I'm like, so that's a different generation. Who is Nipsey Russell? I know who that is.
Right.
But in case you guys didn't know, that's where he got the name from. Remember he played the Tin Man in The Wiz. In The Wiz. So I thought that was kind of cool. I can't pronounce his real name, so I'm going to go with Nipsey. Go with the one his stage name. Nipsey Hussle. Did you see the services?
No, I was at work.
Okay.
I just saw the part where Snoop was saying something, but I didn't watch it.
They said that he was a good guy, and it's nice, and that's a positive thing. President Barack Obama sent a letter, and he said he didn't know anything really about his music until his daughters were into it, and they knew exactly who it was. So then he researched him and saw how, beneficial he was, too. And I'm going to say beneficial and dedicated he was to his community. So I thought that was kind of cool. They talked about, what's his girlfriend's name?
Lauren London.
Go ahead.
I actually heard that they got married. They got married last summer.
Okay, they did get married?
Yeah, so everybody's like, they wasn't even married. Yeah, that was the first thing. They went and snuck off and got married last summer.
Well, that is good that they got married. And a lot of people are focusing on her. Now, here I'm going to rewind that back. I'm looking at, people, and they're praying for her and all that other stuff. And since they married, I get it. Now, I talked about Mama's Boys. I have yet to see where they acknowledged his mother. So when you look at something tragic happening to that child, look, even though I sat there and talking about the mother-in-laws and all that other stuff, but she birthed him, okay? Something out of her. I would think that she would have been like acknowledged. I'm sure they acknowledged her at the services, with the shaking of the hands and all that other stuff, but they're focusing, who is Lauren London?
She's an actress.
Yeah. Who is Lauren London?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like, okay, and they're focused on her, but I didn't know that they were married either.
Yeah, I read that.
So,
I read that
I'm gonna have to,
last week.
Yeah, I gotta look.
Getting married
That's good.
That may be a rumor, but that's what I read.
Okay.
They got married.
Okay.
Last
I didn't
finally.
I didn't see that, and I'm not just like, negating her and acting like she doesn't matter. She has children, the whole nine. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying at this point, I just really wish people would acknowledge, look, the parent. I think look, the parents, because they hurt, and media do what they do. I guess they figure, celebrity. Boom, here she is. Let's just focus on her. But she did speak very, very well. The part that I saw, I didn't watch the whole thing. They said it was like
chance to see her son, the son that she has with Lil Wayne, speak. I did.
That's where I know her from.
I seen the video. He spoke, and Nipsey actually came to him, and told him that heaven was like paradise. The little boy actually, he speaks very eloquently, and he said he was dreaming that he was somewhere and it was like paradise. And he was looking, and he said all of a sudden he looked behind him, and Nipsey had showed up. This is like in a nutshell, showed up, and he was like, "Hey, killer," because he said that's what he called him. Hey, killer, and they got to talking, and Nipsey told him that heaven was like paradise. And then he said all of a sudden he just, they talked a few more minutes, and then Nipsey disappeared. That was a tearjerker. I did see that, on YouTube, just that little piece on. I was like, no, not the baby. But the children are very receptive. So, Nipsey did let somebody know that he was okay.
And that's all right. See, that's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all lovely people. I got to these Q-tips. I was talking about anxiety and all that good stuff on Be Inspired. And the Q-tips today. Have you ever been in a situation, before I even get to the Q-tips, have you ever been in a situation where you like, I got to say this to this person. I love this person dearly. And then you find yourself suffering from anxiety. And you're like, I got to tell them. How do I tell them?
Sometimes, depending on who it is and what it is.
So,
because for me, anxiety is part of my story.
Okay.
I was anxious about stuff and didn't know why. So, yeah, I am familiar with anxiety and uncertainty.
Okay, share.
And confrontation. Yeah.
Confrontation. What
Not
type
as
of
much now, but once upon a time, and that's why I'm always talking about everybody has a backstory. But the answer to your question is, today, I could find a way to do it. Back in the day, I would have let it go.
Okay. Tell me back in the day real quick.
Just didn't have the confidence to say it. It would come out in other ways. If people see me now, they would think that I was like very assertive and mouthy back in the day. But part of that was the protective mechanism I had around myself. And there was a lot of things that I wouldn't have said that today I wouldn't let go. So if there was just something that I felt needed to be said back then, you would have had to have been in my circle for me to say it.
Okay.
But if you were outside my circle and I still was compelled to say it, I wouldn't have. Today,
is it because of you didn't know what their response would be?
It'd be because I didn't have enough confidence to express myself. I learned to internalize a lot.
How did that affect you?
Stress, headaches, physical illnesses, all of the things that you hear about stress and anxiety, because I could get anxious in situations like that. And of course it kicks in that
fight or flight.
And so when the cortisol levels, you know how it is, all of that is always pumping, it takes a physical effect on you. So yeah, anxiety is a large part of what I talk about with my coaching and self-awareness, because a lot of it comes from within, and you have to figure out why the confrontation is so anxious, for you. Why are you feeling that you can't stand up to the challenge of saying something, or does it really need to be said at all? Sometimes you have to go through all of that. Are you just trying to express yourself to be validated? Or is this something that can work itself out without you?
Did you use support groups?
No.
Good.
I I did not. I trained myself.
Did you train yourself?
Which is why I can talk to everybody else now.
Hey. And listen, she giving you out of quick tips. I had to ask her. See if we was on the same page, and we are. Learn yourself.
You have to talk. Yeah, you do. Is that why you asked me that?
I did.
Yes.
Look, I'm like...
with you. And you go back to the point of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I just did a
what is the issue?
I just did a presentation yesterday, and I'm going to keep this short, about my fear of loss. But I didn't know it was my fear of loss.
Okay.
My age of innocence changed when I was about 6 years old and my mother's brother died of a heroin overdose.
Okay.
And I talked about that yesterday because it was his death that taught me that young people can die. It was his death that showed me that all of these pillars of strength around me could break. It was his death that took away the fairy tale of what life looked like to me. And so throughout my life, even to this day, if somebody that I hardly know dies, but at some point in time I've encountered them, I react because every time something like that happens, I go back to the first offense. Because that's what it feels like. But now that I am aware of it, I can check it.
Okay.
But when I started college, I had all my grandparents. By the time I graduated college, which was just 5 years later, my father's parents were gone. One of my grandparents were gone. My grandfather committed suicide. So loss became the theme of my life. Now, I don't know this at the time because I'm a young person.
Right.
But as you start to go through life and certain things happen, we operate off a habit. Habit comes from experience. So you have to look at your experiences in life to see where your habits come from so that once you are aware of what you're doing, that is your starting point to recover from that.
Interesting. Very interesting. And I'm glad you shared that. I don't have that. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I say what I say and all that other stuff. But I will say, I'll tell anybody, kudos to my mother. Because, even experiencing certain things, I was always spoken with and talked to, and that's the way I think. That's why I think the way I think. She did it, and she probably don't even know where it's about me. It's about me, and she'll say everything is this how you, and it is, but that's how I was trained. And if somebody else, somebody did something abstract or something tragic happened, I always looked at the why. And it was, if the bully, they must not be happy at home as a kid. And that was it. I was like, oh wow, they must, even though I thought when I grew up, I thought everybody, I didn't know the tragedies, molestation that was going on. I was oblivious to that. And you look and be like, well, you was older. I had no idea that people were going through what they were going through in their household because mine was so fun. I'm like, mine was so fun. And it was like, oh my gosh. And when I went to church, that's my friend. I didn't even know until I became an adult. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I don't want to be around people. I'm being flat out honest. When I'm at church and some people think that I'm standoffish, I don't want to hear your story. And the reason I don't want to hear your story because I'm there for a purpose. And the way that I'm cut out, I will be wondering, oh, I wonder if Sister So-and-so has food. Oh, I wonder if the kids ate. I wonder if she's okay. So in my mind, I'm going to be wondering about that person. And that will become a distraction.
You're the sponge. There's a personality for that. You're the sponge.
Yes.
You suck up everybody else's dirt and you don't know how to squeeze out.
And that's why I don't.
That's it.
Because I know it. When you said that you had to find a way to get out, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And, some people come off like, oh, well, why don't you want to? I have to protect myself. And that's why I say you have to learn yourself. Take some me time. And I'm going to give y'all the quick tips in a few seconds. It's take some me time because even coming home from work, I have everybody's stuff. So when I come home from work, and let's just say that you're here, and as soon as I come through the door and then y'all sitting there talking, then you telling me about everybody else's stuff. I don't want to hear it.
Want that.
I don't want to hear it because it weighs on me. It's no, I need to detox from everybody else's stuff out here that I just left from. I don't want to go home. This is my safe place. And it's like, this is where I'm at, and I need to say, okay, Mel, it's about you. So I don't want to hear everybody else's stuff because I'm already full.
And that is why I don't coach people who don't want to be doing something different. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to help you work yourself through it. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to hunt you down. I'm not doing any of that, because then that takes away from what I'm doing for me.
Yes.
I'm in a good place, but it took me a while to get here because you don't understand all this stuff.
And some people don't even realize that they're dealing with anxiety. They're like,
no,
okay,
it's everyday life. They
right,
don't
I'm
know.
sweating. And here's some symptoms: increased heart rate, sweating. You already
Nausea,
stomach churn,
feel like you're gonna pass out.
Stomach churns
Yes.
for the old people. Stomach turns for the new ones. That's what that means when your stomach is turning and knots. Hard to concentrate. A lot of people don't realize that, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting things?" You don't realize that it's actually anxiety that's coming in when you have to make a big decision. Dry mouth. Why? Because you're breathing out of your mouth. That's it in a nutshell. You're breathing out of your mouth and don't even realize it's like, okay, that fight or flight, like Kim and I was talking about earlier. Dizzy, lightheaded, she said headaches. You nailed it. Those were some of the experiences, and those are some of the symptoms of anxiety that you may have. You start sweating. You're like, I don't know what the heck is going on. And you think that you're okay, and you actually suffer from anxiety. And I didn't think I suffered from anxiety until I found myself in that space when I'm from outside, and where it's like, if your home is not your safe place and it's quiet and you're going to hear something else, you're not there. And you'll find yourself like, soon as you get to a place, that's why I say you have to find somebody that's for you. You might be in a relationship, or you might have a spouse that is not supportive, and you're dealing with something, and it's like, okay, I don't even want to go home. And when you get to that place where you don't want to go home, you need some me time. It's because of anxiety. And it's like, and you don't want to hurt that person's feelings, but it's like, let me understand me. You know what I'm saying? Give me that time. Even when you see back in the day, we talk about foundation, back in the day when Dad used to come home and he was in his chair. Mom used to, okay, your daddy coming home. I need y'all to go on ahead, sit down. She gave him the remote and gave him his plate so that he can have his time, his downtime. That stuff is actually real. Some treatments for it would be, like we said, learn yourself. Realize what your triggers are. Once you realize what your triggers are, you're like, I can't allow that in my space. I have to do for me.
Priority standard.
There you go.
My father was an alcoholic. You can't drink and be my man.
Okay.
That's my trigger.
There you go. She said it. Exercise, that takes, concentration. You'll be like, okay, what am I doing? I'm going to focus on this.
Increases endorphins too.
Yes, it does. Relax. Watch a movie if that's what you want to do. Eat better. Grab some fruit, grab some veggies, and then you'll be fine. I'm not going to say, I am going to say, don't drink your anxiety away.
Self-medication.
Kind of like what you said. And I'm going to talk about, and I want to linger on that, even self-medication, because it leads to that. And what you're doing is pretty much masking the issue instead of saying, okay, this is the issue and I need to address it. So first you have to say, what is the issue? What's the cause of the issue? Kim actually gave those examples. That's why I asked that question. You probably didn't know. That was
I do want us to say this, though. If counseling is what you need, by all means, go get it.
And listen, and that's another one. That was getting ready to put that. Therapy
I didn't go,
good.
but I'm a mental health nurse. You understand what I'm saying? So I knew how to work myself through it. I knew what I needed to do. I was interested enough to see why I was the way I was. And I had the tools to work through that. But if you need to talk to somebody, if you need to go to a group, if you need some outside help, by all means get it. 211 suicide help hotline.
Yes.
By all means, because enough of us don't go get help.
Enough
of us don't talk to somebody else. We need to deal with that.
Absolutely. So, and look, that was one of them too. Therapy, if you got good insurance, but even if you don't, support groups, they do work. It depends on your situation and if you know the person. Like me, I won't go where I know people. I won't know where I know people because I don't need them to take that information and change the context of what I'm trying to say and then, put it out there. And we know for every placement, there's a replacement. I learned that as a little kid from my mama. And people that are in positions right now, you know how they are, and you're like, ooh, they got that position, they went to school, you know what I mean? You be like, I don't want them in my business. But definitely, what Kim said, if therapy will actually help, and most importantly, I'm going to put it out there, pray.
Definitely.
Pray for a higher power. You know, you have people who feel as though you don't pray for God and you still here, blah, blah, blah. That's your story. This is mine. And the reason that you are probably still here is because somebody prayed for you, your aunt, your grandma, somebody was praying for you. So continue, and don't just leave your children out there by themselves. Teach them the way to go. Teach them.
Talk about it.
Yes.
Because my mom tried to protect me from death, which is probably why it became a big issue for me. My daughter, on the other hand, I have very, very, very open conversations with her about everything.
So here's your quick tips, real quick. Find out what the issue is, the cause of the issue. Get a plan together for the solution. Say, okay, what is this? Then make a decision. Kind of like what she said. If you don't want it, I'm not coaching you. Make that decision to say, okay, this is what I want to do. And when you go back, I want you to rethink it. It's important to rethink it. Be like, okay, this is the decision that I'm making. Let me rethink it. I ain't saying put it on the shelf. Is this truly, and this is the rethink part, is this truly what I want to do? Almost like an addict. Is it? Do I want treatment? Do I want help? Or am I going to sit there and go through this course, but I know next week is a party and I'm going to take a drink?
And it's work. It's not easy.
Yes.
However old you are, that's how long it took you to get to that place. It's not going to undo itself overnight.
All right. There you have it. Any last words for if it don't fit, don't force it. Just relax and let it go. Any last words?
Check what your fit is and what you want people to see. That's what you become.
Uh-oh. Okay. Isn't that the truth? Listen, them spirits transfer too. So check what your fit is.
Mine is just don't let it fester. Say something. Talk. Let your feelings out. Just say something.
Say something?
Get it off your chest.
Say what? What's on your chest right now?
No, whatever's
what's on your chest right now?
No. Whatever's bothering you, you got to say. I had to come to that point where I was always keeping everything bottled in, and I got to the point now that's why everybody talk. She's so mouthy now. You just say anything out your mouth. You don't care. You're right, because I was in the spot where it almost took me out of here. Not saying anything. I'm not letting nobody take me out of here before my time.
Okay, now you said it almost took you out of here. What? We running over, but I need to put that out there for somebody.
I mean, like you said, anxiety and depression, just holding things in, things that I've seen as a child that went on, transpired in personal life and everything, and my own personal life, it almost killed me, took me out of here. I open my mouth and I say things now, and some people say that, well, you're so combative and you got a smart mouth. Yes, I had to come to this point and finally got to this place where I'm not going to let nothing kill me. Your problem, yours, whatever, I'm not going to let it. If it bothers me, I'm going to let you know it bothers me.
Interesting. I speak on, I don't know if you heard it, stress versus mess. Mm-hmm. And it's been years,
I did that on your show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that,
Is it
yes,
stress or mess?
Yes. Is it stress or mess? You remember that?
Yep.
And when I spoke on it, and I still currently do, usually the stress is somebody else's mess. And we take it on. And we take it on. And that's why when I was saying I have to clear my head, because I have all the stresses of the world out here, somebody else's mess. And then when you go to your place of comfort, you don't want that. It's like, I don't want to hear about nobody's problems. I don't want to hear nothing. I just need some me time because you need it. And I refuse to allow, like you said, it to affect me physically. Just like you said, too, it starts to affect you physically. All right, lovely people. So my thoughts are the same. If it don't fit, don't force it. Just relax and let it go. But today's footnote, when we talked about the church, don't criticize what you don't understand.
Amen.
Okay? All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Shop Talk. I love you guys for listening. You already know. Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk. Right here on Spreaker.com.